Chapter 1363. Hand over the 9 Emperor Seals. Fong Ping. The demon Thearcha's chi and blood rushed to the heavens, and his face was cold. In front of the powerhouses of the 3 realms, Fong Ping, a broken 7 martial artist, was forcing a broken 2 powerhouse to hand over his treasure. Did he really think that the 3 realms belonged to Fong? Someone sneered. Fong Ping, the 3 realms is still yours. Fong Ping did not even look at King Qian. These words were spoken by King Qian. He did not want to waste his energy at this moment. Fong Ping dragged his saber and took a step forward. His chi movement locked onto the monster emperor. He said in a low voice, "Hand over the 9 Emperor Seals." "Monster Emperor, are you going to hand it over or not?" The demon Dwarch was furious. At this moment, the God-forging envoy looked at Fong Ping for a while and sighed in his heart. Helpless, he also took a step forward and said slowly, "Kuan Peng, the 9 Emperor Seal is useless to you. Why must you block Fong Ping's path? You want to stand up for him?" The demon emperor's face turned cold. The God creation envoy was silent. Silence was tacit agreement. King Qian glanced at Hong Kuan, and Hong Kuan nodded his head indiscernibly. King Qian took a step forward and said with a smile, "God creation envoy, it's not appropriate for us to have internal strife now, right? Dao brother Dao tree is still here, and everyone is contributing in order to clear the trial. It's fine if you don't contribute, but you still want to cause trouble." The Dao tree was also feeling a little sullen. At this moment, he was eager to clear the stage. Fong Ping was causing trouble again and again. He had even killed Yi before this, which made him even more furious. On top of that, the heaven-sundering jade was in Fong Ping's hands. At this time, the Dao tree also said coldly, "Everyone, it's better if we work together to break through. Let's talk about our personal grudges later." Fong Ping narrowed his eyes, a cold glint flashing in them. "What if I refuse?" The Dao tree said calmly, "Since fellow Daoist Kuan Peng is willing to join forces to clear the trial, we will not sit idly by and watch as you are bullied. You want to fight? Fellow Daoist Fong, you can decide for yourself." On the other side, Li Zhu also took a small step forward. He smiled and looked at Fong Ping, a little suspicious and a little playful. Now, Fong Ping suddenly wanted to seize the 9 Emperor's seal. Did he have the confidence to break through 8, or was there another reason? Behind them, Luan and Sherpa frowned slightly. Would Fong Ping be able to digest the 9 Emperor's seal in time? Otherwise, he would have offended the demon emperor. At that moment, the cat leaped onto the heavenly hound's head, grabbed the dog's ears with its claws, and shouted, "Big dog, hit them!" The heavenly hound snorted. It could not be bothered with Fong Ping's business. However, since the old cat had already said it, it had long disliked the monster emperor. At this time, it had no time to talk nonsense. It said coldly, "Fong Ping, what nonsense are you talking about? If you want to snatch it, then snatch it. If you don't want to snatch it, then stop talking nonsense." Fong Ping glanced at the Dao tree. In this place, what he feared the most was, of course, the Dao tree. Even if they joined forces, they might not be a match for the Dao tree. Fong Ping took a deep breath. Right now, there was only one ninth breaker. Later on, there might be a few more ninth breakers trying to stop him from obtaining the 9 Emperor seal. Fong Ping did not say anything else. He crushed a jade pendant and said slowly, "Dao tree, Heavenly King Suppression is waiting for you. You'd better not interfere with the matter between me and the monster emperor." The Dao tree frowned. Fong Ping ignored him. This time, he wasn't fooling anyone. The Heavenly King Garrison had indeed given Fong Ping a jade pendant. He just had to crush it at the crucial moment. He knew that Fong Ping was in danger and would rush over in advance. Right at this moment, A low shout came over. Rumble! A loud noise was heard. In the next moment, the heavenly King Garrison entered the huge door behind him, looking a little flustered. He cursed, "They're fighting? I saw the Emperor still wandering around. Why did they start fighting?" There was silence everywhere. This guy was really here. Fong Ping felt more confident now that he was here. "Godfather, stop the Dao tree." With just that one sentence, Fong Ping broke through the air. His force erupted, his vitality burning all over his body. In an instant, he unleashed the peak strength of a ninth breaker. The battle of broken path. Whoever interferes will die. Fong Ping roared, the Changdao in his hand bursting with a dazzling light. The monster emperor also snorted coldly, holding the beast emperor's staff. He struck. On the other side, the Dao tree frowned and looked at the heavenly King Garrison. As for the heavenly King Garrison, he was still a little dazed at this moment. Then he said, angrily, "Nobody came. I was the first to come. How can I be the finale? Bastard." He was so angry. It had not even started, and he was brought here by Fong Ping. How embarrassing. The Dao tree stared at him. Seeing this, the heavenly King Garrison snorted. "What are you looking at? What's wrong with breaking 9? I'm also at the peak of breaking 8, so I can hold you back for a while. Now that you're being held back by me, there are plenty of people who want to kill you. Do you think others want to see the divine emperor's 2 sovereigns?" The Dao tree frowned and said nothing. His goal was not to kill Fong Ping, but to clear the stage. But it was really annoying. This bastard Fong Ping was actually forcing Kuan Peng to seize the 9 Emperor's seal. No one would give it to him, right? Just as he was deep in thought, a loud explosion resounded throughout the world. Boom! Fong Ping flew backward. The monster emperor took a few steps back, slightly shocked. Fong Ping, who was at peak break 7, had a terrifyingly powerful physique. The demon, the arch, was very powerful. Second gate breaker ability. The limit was 30 million calories and above. As for Fong Ping, even if his physique was strong, even if he had a weapon to amplify him, even if he had vitality combusting to a maximum of 20 million calories in the blink of an eye, both of them had exchanged 100 moves, and Fong Ping was only sent flying backward. He was not injured. Just as Tengu was about to help, Fong Ping roared, "Get out of the way! Tengu, kill King Qian!" Everyone was taken aback by his words. The heavenly hound was also a little dazed. Weren't they supposed to work together to kill the demon, the arch? "Go!" Fong Ping roared again. Tengu was a little annoyed, but did not say anything else. With a roar, he charged toward King Qian. Hong Kuan saw this and frowned, but he did not make a move. "God Creation Envoy, kill Li Zhu. How dare you? How dare you interfere in my matters?" God Creation Envoy squinted and smiled, breaking through the air instantly. But he was worried. Was Fong Ping crazy? You, a 7-gate breaker, want to fight a 2-gate breaker demon emperor? But since Fong Ping said so, he chose to believe him. In the next moment, God Creation Envoy charged toward Li Zhu. He and Tengu were stronger than these two. How could these two be a match for them? They had just broken through 8 and had not broken through yet. Hong Kuan and Hong, you could not sit still anymore. Sherpa and Luan looked at each other, both of them helpless. They had fallen into a trap. "Forget it. Let's do it. Both of you, leave these 2 to us. We'll leave the 2 foolish sons of the Earth royal family to you." Luan roared, carrying his sword and charging toward King Qian. He roared, "Leave your thighs." King Qian's face turned red when he heard this. He was so angry. However, he was indeed no match for Tengu. At this time, if Luan interfered, how could he fight against the 2 of them? Hong Kuan was also depressed. Why did they really start fighting? But someone had already come knocking on his door. What could he do? He did not say anything. Tengu gave up on King Qian instantly and roared, "Hong Kuan, you trapped me for 3,000 years. I'll settle the score with you today." He had wanted to hit Hong Kuan for a long time. The chance had come. Roar! A violent roar rang out, devouring heaven. Heaven and earth darkened. At this moment, the entire world was like a dog's mouth. Tengu swallowed it in one gulp. At the same time, a metal chain locked onto King Kuan. On the other side, God Creation Envoy also abandoned Li Zhu and charged toward Hongyu. In the blink of an eye, four powerhouses who had broken through 8 began fighting with 4 opponents who had broken through 8. 8 of them broke through 8 and fought together almost instantly. Energy erupted and vitality surged. Those martial artists who had not reached the Heavenly King realm changed their expressions. Fortunately, the Tao tree still wanted them to summon powerhouses. With a low snort, mentality covered the surroundings, protecting these people. Only Feng, who had not participated in the battle and had not been targeted by anyone, was left with only Feng. Heavenly King Zhen and the Tao tree's aura were entangled. Clearly, they could not care about him. Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at Fang Ping. Fang Ping was being suppressed by the Monster Emperor. If not for his strong physique, his body would have been destroyed by the Monster Emperor. 30 million calories against 20 million calories. The difference was still huge. One broken 8 was enough to change the situation. As for King Zhen, he originally wanted to participate in the battle. However, when he saw that no one was willing to fight for him, he didn't even move. A cat squatted less than 10 meters away from him and looked at him with a weird expression. It seemed to be waiting for him to attack. Seeing this, King Zhen could not be bothered to participate in the battle. They were all battles between powerhouses who had broken through 8. He had just broken through 7. If he participated in the battle now, he might die a terrible death. Moreover, he might not be able to defeat this cat. If he did not participate in the battle, the heaven plants that had broken through 6 would not be used. Among those who were fighting, the weakest Fang Ping was at the peak of breaking through 7 and was about to break through 8. Wasn't he looking for death if he went? God of the underworld, what should we do? Both sides started fighting. There were more than 10 powerhouses participating in the battle. It was unexpected. Almost all of them had the combat strength of breaking through 8. Even Fang Ping, with the long saber in his hand and his strong physique, had reached the level of breaking through 8. If they were outside the boundary point, Fang Ping also had a chance of breaking through the boundary point. There were so many powerhouses who were just breaking through. Who knew that they would start fighting in the blink of an eye? The god of the underworld frowned. He glanced at the cat and sighed in his heart. Other than Fang Ping and the Monster Emperor, who were in a killing frenzy, the others did not use their full strength. If his side participated in the battle, if the situation was chaotic, he could still fish in troubled waters. But now, if they attacked the cat now, it would definitely cause Fang Ping's side to attack them. Hong Kuan and the others would probably be happy to watch the show. Wait, the god of the underworld sent a telepathic message. Wait, the origin lineage was very strong. At this moment, it was not extremely chaotic. The barrier had not been broken yet. The Tao tree would probably come out to make peace in the end. If they came out, everything would change. Bang! Fang Ping, you think you can force me? The Monster Emperor's voice was cold. Breaking 7 was only breaking 7 after all. If Fang Ping fought with King Qian of Li Zhu, there was still hope. They might not be familiar, but to fight with him, the difference was huge. Fang Ping was sent flying with a staff. Fang Ping spat out blood. At this moment, Fang Ping's eyes were red. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Kuan Ping, you're courting death. Ignite my Tao. Rumble. At this moment, Fong Ping installed his holy Dao and burned it rapidly. He who had installed his holy Dao already had the combat strength of Breaking Eight. His physique was strong, his weapon enhanced, and now that he was burning his Dao, he erupted with even greater power. At this moment, Fong Ping's aura rose rapidly. 21 million, 22 million, 23 million. In the blink of an eye, it was close to 25 million calories. Fong Ping was like a man on fire. His whole body was burning with the flames of the origin. The commotion of the battle in all directions weakened instantly. Everyone was aghast. Breaking Eight. And it was not the kind that had just broken through. Although it was related to Fong Ping burning his Dao, Fong Ping had really broken Eight. Even Monster Emperor's expression changed. At this moment, Fong Ping roared. An invisible wall appeared and disappeared instantly. Monster Emperor grunted, but Fong Ping did not hesitate. Explode. Rumble. Monster Emperor did not know the situation, but the corner of Feng's mouth twitched. This guy had really changed his seal the sky technique to explode the sky technique. Damn it! Monster Emperor was slightly stunned. At this moment, Fong Ping did not hesitate, holding his saber and slashing instantly. Break the sky. Changsheng. McMao. All living beings. All living beings. He shouted 5 times in a row. 5 sabers merged into one. The vitality was not overflowing, but the aura was earth-shattering. Li Changsheng's sword. Fong Ping was like a mad demon, wielding his saber and slashing down. Rumble. Monster Emperor's sealed door wall was destroyed by Fong Ping. His origin trembled slightly, affected slightly, and his movements were slightly slower. With this delay, Fong Ping's 5 sabers merged into one and had already slashed down. Humph! A cold snort with endless murderous aura shook the surroundings. Monster Emperor also struck with his staff quickly. However, Fong Ping did not care at all. An injury for an injury, a life for a life. Let's see if you, Monster Emperor, are willing to fight to the death with me for the 9 Emperor seals. Uffed. The saber fell. An arm was chopped off, exploding with a rumble. Monster Emperors. Bang. The beast Emperor staff struck out. The flesh on Fong Ping's chest exploded. The crystal-clear heart burst instantly. The beast Emperor staff pierced through Fong Ping directly. Fong Ping grinned hideously. His physique was strong, not the slightest bit weaker than Monster Emperor's. Why would he care about this? I can still last for half an hour. Half an hour to kill you. God-slaying saber. Boom. The Changdao changed direction. Fong Ping let the beast Emperor's staff pierce his chest and devour his blood. He slashed out again, the Changdao glowing blood red. He was a lunatic. Monster Emperor's arm grew out instantly. He was also sullen and angry. Was the 9 Emperor seals worth exchanging his life for? Fong Ping might not be able to exhaust him to death. However, Fong Ping was burning his Dao now. Although his combat strength was still not as good as his, even if he killed Fong Ping, he would definitely be seriously injured. How could it be so easy to kill a fellow who was almost at the same rank? If Broken Eight was so easy to kill, Yuan Hua would not have perished together with the weapon master that day. You broke my Dao. Today, I'll end your life here. Fong Ping laughed maniacally, waving his saber and slashing again. Bang! Monster Emperor pulled out the beast Emperor staff and collided with the Changdao in an instant. A loud bang shook the sky. If the 2 sides started fighting, it would be a bloody battle. In the blink of an eye, Fong Ping once again let the Monster Emperor's staff pierce through his throat. Instead, he slashed the Monster Emperor's head with his saber until the flesh and blood exploded, leaving only the bones. Everyone was dumbfounded. These two fellows did not have a deep grudge against each other. They were both the three realms' top powerhouses. Speaking of which, there was no deep hatred between them. However, right now, it was a bloody battle to the end. It was not that Monster Emperor wanted a bloody battle. It was that Fong Ping fellow who was too crazy, forcing Monster Emperor to fight. If Monster Emperor did not go all out, he might really be killed by Fong Ping on the spot. This fellow was burning his Tao now. He was terrifyingly powerful. Mother of asterisk Kerr, what kind of strength is this? The celestial terminus people were going crazy. Broken 8, close to 2 gates. This Fong Ping fellow, when did he learn to hide his strength? Everyone was discussing fervently. On the other side, Dao Tree frowned and said in a low voice, "Subduer, he's burning his Tao. If his Tao burns completely, he will definitely die." Heavenly King Subduer scratched his nose. After scratching for a while, he seemed to hear it and said in surprise, "What?" Dao Tree was exasperated. "The checkpoint has not been broken yet. We haven't gotten anything. If we fight now, what does it have to do with me?" Heavenly King Subduer was speechless. "If he wants to kill, I can't stop him. Don't look at him calling me Godfather. If I stop him, even calling him Godfather is useless. Let him kill. If he can't kill Kuan Peng, he'll be done for. If one dies, it'll stop. Are you talking like a human?" Dao Tree was about to vomit blood. "Isn't this your adopted son? How dare you say such things? Are you even human? What do you mean it'll stop if one dies?" Bang! Bang! The other 8 Broken 8 powerhouses who were participating in the battle were watching as they fought. Their fighting spirit had weakened a lot. They were only restraining each other. At this moment, they were all looking at Fong Ping and the Monster Emperor. Wandu could not help but shudder. He looked at King Qian and muttered, "Mother of asterisk Kerr, why did you provoke him? Are you crazy? When did this lunatic become so strong? Be careful, he might kill you one day." King Qian's face darkened. His heart trembled. How could this devil be so strong? Even if he did not ignite his Tao, he might have reached the stage of Broken 8. This meant that his strength was on par with him. But Fong Ping had forged his jade bones. His physique was almost at the jade body level. His weapon was stronger than his, and his strength control seemed to be slightly higher than his. King Qian's heart trembled slightly. If they really fought, he might not be this devil's match. This was under normal circumstances. Now, Fong Ping ignited his Tao and became even stronger. Moreover, Fong Ping was really unafraid of death. The Monster Emperor did not want to fight him to the death. For a moment, he seemed to be suppressed by Fong Ping. What was this? Li Zhu, Hong Yu, Hong Kuan. Everyone was afraid. King Zhen and Tian Ji retreated a lot. They could not participate in the battle. Previously, he wanted to surround and kill Fong Ping. Now, King Zhen's face turned pale. Luckily, he gave the Heavenly King's seal to Fong Ping. Otherwise, he might have been killed by Fong Ping on the spot. No wonder Fong Ping was so arrogant. It was because he had really reached Broken 8. Damn it! Fong Ping, this cunning fellow, was so arrogant. If he was not afraid of his past achievements, he would not have given it to Fong Ping. Then he would be dead. Everyone was shocked. Unbeknownst to them, the Heavenly King Zhen was gritting his teeth. Mother of asterisk Kerr, how did he do it? He reached Broken 8. If this continued, would he still be able to suppress this kid? How terrifying! Even he felt terrified. On the other side, Fong was also struggling. Fong Ping was too terrifying. Should he help the Monster Emperor to kill him? He was also a powerhouse who was close to breaking 2 gates. He was not afraid of Fong Ping in a one-on-one fight. Moreover, if he joined forces with the Monster Emperor, Fong Ping would definitely die after his Tao was ignited. Ignited Tao. How many times has he ignited it? Feng was thinking about this question. It was not the first time. It was not the first time Fang Ping ignited his Tao. Shi Po's origin realm is in his hands. He can replace Daos. In the past, he broke his own Emperor Dao. Since then, he often ignited his Tao. When he forced the Emperor to bow down, he asked for 3 Saint Daos. Previously, Yuan Gang was killed. Feng's face turned pale. He did not dare to think about it. Was the Tao that Fang Ping ignited now a Saint Tao, or a Heavenly King Tao? Was Yuan Gang's Tao stripped by him? Fang Ping killed Yuan Gang, for no reason. Although the two of them had a grudge, there were many people present who hated him more than Yuan Gang. Yuan Gang broke through to Heavenly King Realm. How could he be Fang Ping's opponent? Fang Ping can break into origin. He learned my sky sealing technique and sealed Yuan Gang's Tao. Yuan Gang might not even have time to self-destruct his Tao. Yuan Gang's Tao is in his hands. What he's igniting now is the Saint Tao from before. Igniting the Saint Tao. He's close to breaking 2 gates. Igniting the Heavenly King Tao. What's his strength? He is still hiding his strength. At this moment, Feng's powerful mentality was working rapidly, connecting all the clues. Fang Ping's aura was not obvious. His Tao was not obvious. He did not notice anything strange before. At this moment, Fang Ping was fighting a bloody battle. Feng's eyes moved slightly. He quickly probed with a wisp of mentality. He wanted to sense whether it was a Saint Tao or a Heavenly King Tao. The two of them were fighting. How powerful was it? At this moment, the void was collapsing. Outside, half of Huaxia had been destroyed in an instant. Feng's mentality was very weak. Neither of them noticed. Even if they noticed, they would not care. Once they got close, they would be crushed instantly. Feng did not care. He probed again and shattered again and again. In the blink of an eye, it was shattered hundreds of times. Feng's expression suddenly changed. The aura of a Saint Tao. It was the aura of a Saint Tao. It was not a Heavenly King Tao. Fang Ping still had a Heavenly King Tao. Was there a big difference between a Saint Tao and a Heavenly King Tao for Fang Ping? Feng did not know how big the difference was. It was obvious that a Heavenly King Tao was definitely stronger than a Saint Tao. He's still hiding his strength. Feng's heart was cold. Who was Fang Ping plotting against? He did not even go all out to fight the Demon Emperor. He even deliberately burned his Tao. Was he pretending to be seriously injured to trick others? It's already very shocking for him to be close to breaking too. Who would have thought that he was still hiding something? Feng's gaze changed for a while. He, who was still standing in the middle of the battlefield, now slowly retreated, not participating in the battle. He was afraid that Fang Ping was trying to kill a Broken Eight. He was in danger. He was even afraid that Fang Ping and the Demon Emperor had deliberately set up a trap to kill him, because it had happened before. That day, Tian Chief died like this. He did not dare to go. The human heart was too complicated. The Demon Emperor and Fang Ping seemed to be fighting miserably. Who knew if they would join forces to deal with him in the next moment? Feng retreated step by step. Seeing him leave, the Demon Emperor grunted, a little annoyed. Previously, everyone had an agreement. At the crucial moment, Fang Ping's humans were the strongest. They would join forces. Feng actually retreated. Bastard! Just as he was distracted, opposite, Fang Ping's eyes were blood red. He was extremely excited. Feng left. Then I won't hold back. Kill. Fang Ping was like he had taken a stimulant. His left hand gripped the Beast Emperor's staff, letting it explode. His jade bones were cracking, but he slashed at the Demon Emperor's neck. Bang! The Demon Emperor's head almost fell off. Damn it! In the next moment, a piercing eagle cry rang out. It was not an eagle. It was a rock. The Demon Emperor had revealed his true form. At the realm of the Demon Emperor, even if he was in human form, he could still unleash all his strength. However, transforming into his true form meant that he had reached his limit. He had to fight to the end. Fong Ping, do you really think that no one in the three realms can control you? The rock that covered the sky said in a cold voice. Fong Ping, on the other hand, sneered. At least it won't be you. I gave you face, but you didn't want it. I said that I would take the 9 Emperor seals, but you insisted on cutting off my Tao. Today, I won't rest until you die. The hatred of cutting off one's Tao was more ruthless than killing one's parents. As soon as he said that, the Demon Emperor who had transformed into a rock was helpless. He did not expect Fong Ping to be so strong. If he knew, maybe it would not be like this. Did he regret it? A little. The Demon Emperor's heart was also desolate. Fong Ping had killed him until his true form appeared. This meant that Fong Ping was truly standing on the same level as the powerhouses of the three realms. If he did not transform into his true form, he would be in danger of dying. Kill. The sonorous sound of fighting pierced through the passageway. Fong Ping was fearless. If he did not seize the 9 Emperor seals today, when would he wait? Uffed. Sharp claws instantly grabbed Fong Ping's head. However, Fong Ping raised his head again. His face was covered in blood, and he laughed sinisterly. The Demon Emperor's expression changed slightly. In the next moment, a wisp of origin energy spread toward his claws. Explode. Kaboom. Burn. Flames suddenly rose from all directions. The raging fire burned the void. Fong Ping's jade-like body was burned to nothing in the blink of an eye. As for the Demon Emperor, the smell of barbecue wafted from his body. The Demon Emperor growled. His claws exerted force, and the Beast Emperor's staff suddenly turned into a giant dragon, swallowing Fong Ping. The Changdao in Fong Ping's hand also turned into a giant dragon in the blink of an eye. The 2 giant dragons were bathed in blood, and the Beast Emperor's staff was vaguely losing. Everyone was stunned. Fong Ping's Changdao was actually stronger than the demon's treasure. Grow! Fong Ping roared. The skeleton that was left with only jade bones instantly grew against the wind. 1,000 meters, 10,000 meters. It was bigger than a rock in the blink of an eye. Can I transform? Ha ha ha. Fong Ping punched the Demon Emperor's head, and both sides fought fiercely again. Kaboom! After a while, there was only a skeleton man and a skeleton bird in the world fighting fiercely. If this battle continued, everyone knew that one would die, and the other would be seriously injured. At this time, the Tao Tree frowned and said in a low voice, Fong Ping, Rock, let's stop fighting. Rock, since the 9 Emperor seals were left by the cat, just return it to the cat. The Tao Tree knew that the Demon Emperor had no way out now. He was still the strongest in the 3 realms, but he was forced to this point by Fong Ping. How could he be willing? But if they continued fighting, there would be casualties. If such a powerhouse died, there would be a bloody battle next. If a few more died, this level would not be broken. The Demon Emperor was silent. Obviously, he knew what the Tao Tree meant. Even if he was unwilling, was he really willing to continue fighting with Fong Ping for the 9 Emperor seals? Up until now, he had already suffered heavy losses. Flesh. The demon clan's flesh was very strong. As for his flesh, most of it was torn by Fong Ping, and the rest was simply burned directly with the origin flame. This lunatic still wanted to fight him in close combat, and many of his bones were broken. Both of them had jade bones. Fong Ping's jade bones were actually stronger than his. If this went on, even if Fong Ping could not hold on and died here, his strength would be crippled by at least 80%, and he might be killed even if he broke 6. At this point in the battle, the Demon Emperor already wanted to borrow a way out of this embarrassing situation. However, Fang Ping was really crazy. At this time, he suddenly laughed fiercely and said, "What returned the cat? What I want, give it to me now. I don't need you to return it. I want to take back what I lost today." You, blood saber technique. With a loud roar, countless forces merged into Fang Ping's Changdao. The Changdao was instantly blood red, and the origin force erupted. Some gray origin force overflowed, and directly ignited the long dragon formed by the Beast Emperor's staff. The color of Fang Ping's jade bones began to dim. The Demon Emperor could not hold it in anymore. "Lunatic, I was ready to return it to you, but this lunatic was actually using a big move that would perish together with me." Motherf asterisk her, the Demon Emperor was really going to explode with vulgarities. Here you go. In the next moment, a big seal shot toward Fang Ping. The Demon Emperor broke through the air and fled. If Fang Ping slashed this time, Fang Ping's jade bones would be completely shattered, but the Demon Emperor, even if he blocked it, his bones would be crippled. He would be crazy to fight with Fang Ping like this. Humph, useless. Fang Ping grabbed the 9 Emperor seals with his skeletal hand and sneered. His flesh recovered instantly, and he looked around. How domineering. However, at this moment, even Hong Kuan and Hong Yu avoided the sharp edge. Their expressions were solemn, and they did not look Fang Ping in the eye. This lunatic had broken through 8. With the 9 Emperor seals in his hands, would he become stronger? Everyone's hearts trembled. How did he do it? P.S. Shocking news. An old platinum senior from Chijian has passed away. Condolences. Not yet 40 years old. Life is unpredictable. Cherish it while you can. Chapter 1364. Fang Ping wielded the 9 Emperor's seal, insolent and domineering. He forced the demon god to abandon his seal and flee, shocking the 3 realms. This time, Fang Ping was truly standing at the top of the 3 realms. Below the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors were the 3 envoys and 8 kings. The weapon master had fallen, and the palm seal practitioner had been trapped for many years and could no longer keep up with the demon emperor. The Demon Emperor had broken through to the 8th level and founded the Demon Court, becoming one of the supreme overlords of the 3 realms. Today, this powerhouse who had just started martial arts was forced by Fang Ping to hand over the 9 Emperor seals in front of all the powerhouses of the 3 realms. One person. This time, Fang Ping did not borrow the strength of others. At least when facing the Monster Emperor, he completely relied on his own strength to repel the other party. The Demon Emperor didn't dare to continue the bloody battle with him. If he didn't dare to do it today, would he dare to do it tomorrow? An invincible human king. Perhaps Fang Ping had not swept across the 3 realms, but at this moment, Fang Ping was invincible. The strongest sovereign personage appeared in the human race since the initial martial prowess. Human race. Someone muttered with a complicated expression. The ant-like human race had truly risen to power. The human clan, who had originally borrowed the power of the god-crafting envoys, had now produced their first supreme expert, human King Fang Ping. In the 3 realms, the birth of a supreme expert represented invincibility. As long as the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors did not make an appearance, no one would easily go against a force with an omnipotent master. Omnipotent master. This was omnipotent master. Even in the Chu Wu lineage that had been passed down to this day, the supreme expert was known as the leader of the Chu Wu lineage. It didn't matter if you were an ancient beginner martial artist or a late one. Once you reach this step, you will be the leader of the beginner martial artists. Fang Ping's qi activity gradually weakened. The expressions of everyone changed indeterminately, and they were surprised and bewildered. Very soon, Fong Ping, who was about to break through Gate 2, fell to break through 7 in the blink of an eye. This time, he had not even reached peak yet. Not only that, Fong Ping's aura was still weakening. It continued to decline until he broke through the 6th realm, barely reaching the level of a heavenly king. Everyone was surprised and bewildered. Barely breaking 6, Fong Ping, who had burned his Tao, had fallen to such a state. How much of his origin had he burned? Could he recover quickly? In the distance, the monster emperor had reverted to his human form. He looked at Fong Ping with an icy gaze but did not say a word. Nearby, Feng's eyes flickered slightly. She did not say anything and took a few more steps back to show her sincerity that she had no intention of participating. Breaking 6? What a joke! What about Fong Ping's Heavenly King Road? Buffed, a mouthful of crimson blood spilled from Fong Ping's mouth. Fong Ping swallowed it back quickly. His vitality transformed into a sleeve and brushed the corner of his mouth, wiping away the blood. Fong Ping looked around vigilantly. He let out a weak laugh. I'm just concealing my chi on purpose. Do you think the monster emperor can hurt me? What a joke. This king can unleash the power of breaking 8 at any time. Humph. With a cold snort, Fong Ping's gaze swept across his surroundings, his expression cold and sinister. Everyone's teeth were aching. Do we believe it? It's not like this is the first time I've met you. Every time, you're seriously injured and on the verge of death. This isn't even the first time. How are you still alive? Underground. Sheng Nan was a little curious. She transmitted her voice and said, Your Highness, is he really injured or just faking it? Heaven's Fate's face turned black. Why don't you give it a try? Forget it then. Sheng Nan hurriedly refused. What kind of joke was this? Even if he was really injured, he wouldn't be a match for her. Sheng Nan immediately said, I'm just curious. He forced the monster emperor to retreat. There's no need for him to pretend to be injured now. Even if he's really injured, he should hide it. Nonsense. Get ready to trick people. Trick as many as you can. Celestial Pole rolled his eyes. We know what's going on with him. The others might not know and might not understand. That Tao tree, those emperor clones, although they know that he's shameless, do they really understand him? They only know a little. If he ignited his Tao, the others might think that he's seriously injured. One broke 8, and the other broke 6. How could they be the same? Breaking 8 could still attract the attention of those people, and even be treated as a great enemy. What about breaking 6? One had a vitality outburst of 5 million calories, and the other had a vitality outburst of more than 20 million calories. They were completely different. Sheng Nan shuddered. Who is he trying to trick? How would I know? Celestial Pole's tone was unpleasant. Who knew who he was trying to trick? Those who knew Fong Ping probably knew that he was trying to trick people. But no one said anything. Li Zhu and the others had already stopped fighting. Each of their expressions changed, but no one mentioned that Fong Ping was pretending. No one wanted to test Fong Ping at this time, either. There was no need to test him. 100% fake. Mother asterisk cur. Did he think everyone was a fool? Was this the first time he ignited his Tao? He recovered in the blink of an eye. What was he pretending for? Among those present, the only one who did not understand was the Tao tree. It was the first time his real body came into contact with Fong Ping. As for the previous observation, it was only to see some of Fong Ping's performance in the challenge. The Tao tree did not know Fong Ping's combat strength. Could it be that he wanted to trick and kill the Tao tree? Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. The Tao tree was a powerhouse who had broken 9. Moreover, it was his real body. In the past, he was an emperor. And now, someone actually wanted to trick and kill an emperor. These people started imagining things. They could not help but make this connection because everyone knew that Fong Ping was as cunning as a ghost. No one would believe him. If not for the Tao tree, who else could he be doing it for? Was there a need to act with the others? There was no need. Fong Ping knew that he did not have to act, but he was a little used to it. Keep a low profile. One must keep a low profile. One must never be high profile. After repelling the monster emperor and igniting his Tao, would he not even spit blood? That would be too disrespectful to the monster emperor. Fong Ping felt that he still had to give the monster emperor some face. He had gotten the thing. There was no need to fight the monster emperor to the death. It was not worth it. Therefore, Fong Ping vomited blood. After vomiting blood, he swallowed it back. Fong Ping felt that he had given the monster emperor enough face. Therefore, Fong Ping looked at the monster emperor. He felt that he needed to give him a little more face to show that he was weaker than him and had no intention of fighting him to the death. Monster Emperor, you are very strong. You forced me to ignite my Tao and cripple myself. Only then did I get back the 9 Emperor seals that belonged to me. The Monster Emperor felt that Fong Ping was mocking him. His face was frighteningly livid. You took away the thing and still want to mock me. How inhumane is this? If this was not mockery, what was it? This was simply bullying. Not only the Monster Emperor, even the Heavenly King Garrison felt that it was enough. You have already taken advantage of him. Why do you still want to mock him? Cough, cough. The Heavenly King Garrison coughed lightly. He looked at Fong Ping and said with a smile, "The misunderstanding has been resolved." Fong Ping, step down. You have already gotten the benefits. What else do you want, kid? Fong Ping felt a little innocent. I really feel that I should give the Monster Emperor some face, lest he keeps staring at me after getting the benefits, if I fight with the Monster Emperor again. Unless I kill him and get a big fish, what's the use? Forget it. I won't argue with them. Tengu, chaos, Fong Ping called out. These few were all belligerent and seemed to want to continue. Fong Ping called out, I'm injured. My strength is not as good as the others. Let's bear with it and compromise. Getting out safely is the most important thing. Humph. The Monster Emperor could not hold it in this time. He snorted coldly, choking with anger. Compromise? When have you ever compromised? Fong Ping's side was full of thorns in the 3 realms. They were belligerent. Once the war started, they were all people who did not care about their lives. The more he thought about it, the more aggrieved the Monster Emperor felt. When these lunatics gathered together, it was really suffocating. Birds of a feather flocked together. Normal top-notch powerhouses would weigh the pros and cons before starting a war, right? What about Tengu and the others? What benefits would they get from starting a war? Were there any benefits? No. However, not only did these fellows start a war as soon as they said they would, but they also seemed to want to continue and did not want to give up. Chaos even threatened King Qian. You better prepare a pair of thigh bones for me. Otherwise, I'll make you pay sooner or later. He was still thinking about it. King Qian's thigh bones should be even harder now. They could be used to forge divine weapons. King Qian's face was livid. While he was livid, his heart palpitated. He glanced at King Kuan, who was frowning as well, and quickly transmitted his voice. Hong Kuan, we're in trouble. Fong Ping has broken 8 and obtained the 9 Emperor seals. He won't break 2, right? King Kuan frowned. Then he transmitted his voice coldly. What are you afraid of? Don't provoke him for now. His opponents are not us, but Hongyu, Li Zhu, and the others. Those Emperor clones. This time, I'm afraid he's very ambitious. He might not be able to get out alive. If he reveals his strength in advance, everyone will be prepared. It'll be better, and we can avoid being ambushed by him. If he really ambushed us, that would be troublesome. It's good now. King Kuan also felt a lingering fear. If a great battle had broken out and Fong Ping had suddenly unleashed the strength of a breakthrough eight and attacked them, it would really be somewhat dangerous. It was better now. Moreover, Fong Ping's ability had been exposed. Everyone was prepared and on guard. King Qian thought about it and agreed. However, he still asked worriedly, "Do you have any hope of breaking through to the 9th rank?" The energy gate has been broken, and the forging of the jade bones is almost done. Once we break the gate, we can forge the jade bones. As for spiritual sense, Hong Kuan frowned slightly. Almost. Comparatively speaking, the gate of spiritual sense is even harder to break for us fleshly body cultivators. Breaking through to the 9th level, Hong Kuan sighed. Almost. His mental strength was still a little weak. It was not strong enough. According to his estimations, he would need at least 100 years to break the spiritual gate. But 100 years? In the past, he could wait, but now he couldn't. King Qian frowned as well before he quickly said, "I've gained quite a lot this time as well. My vital energy and blood have broken through the limit. When I go out, the qi and blood gate will definitely be broken. As long as I have enough vitality, I can also break the gate of life. Hong Kuan, can you help me once?" Hong Kuan looked at him. He knew King Qian was afraid. He was afraid that Fong Ping would attack him. He felt that it was not safe for him to break the first gate. He wanted to break the second gate. In this place, breaking the gate of life was the easiest. As long as one had enough vitality, the other foundations of these top-notch powerhouses had reached the standard. Otherwise, they would not have reached this stage. For people like Li Hansong, even if he had forged the jade bones, he would not be able to break the gate. King Kuan did not hesitate and quickly said, "Once the gate is broken, we don't need to rush to get the seed projection. You, me, and King Zhen will work together to plunder the life force behind the gate and help you forge the jade bones and break the second gate. Both you and I have broken the second gate. When King Zhen breaks the 8th gate, we can fight when he breaks the 9th gate." King Qian heaved a sigh of relief. It would be difficult for him to plunder so much life force alone. Since King Kuan was willing to help, the chances were much higher. He felt a little emotional. King Kuan could still hold on at the crucial moment. He was somewhat similar to the earthly sovereign in the past. In the past, the earthly sovereign also made friends and spread his teachings everywhere. Now, King Kuan was also recruiting powerhouses from everywhere. He himself only had the strength to break the second gate, but he was willing to help King Qian break the second gate. He still had the courage. They were discussing. The Dao tree glanced at Fong Ping and frowned slightly. He did not say anything. Fong Ping, on the other hand, returned to his original spot. He glanced at the heaven-suppressing king, and then at the azure cat. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the azure cat back from General King Zhen, heaved a sigh of relief. This cat had been sitting in front of him all this time. He felt pressured, very pressured. The annoying cat was finally taken away. The caterpillar turned its head and gave Fong Ping a strange look. "Why did you catch me?" "Protect me." Fong Ping transmitted his voice secretly and quickly said, "Your mentality is strong. Help me block the senses from all directions. I want to synthesize the 9 Emperor seals. Also, don't let anyone near me. If there is too much movement at the crucial moment, swallow me into the cat's world." "Okay." The azure cat agreed readily. Fong Ping reminded again, "Don't let my aura be exposed." He did not enter the cat's world now because he did not want others to know he had this trick, although the monster emperor had tried this trick once before. The azure cat nodded and said expectantly, "Liar, the next time you hunt a big fish, You must chop off the big fish's head. If not, you can chop off the tail. This time, I almost chopped it off. Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He nodded and said, "Okay. If this fish dares to go against me again, I'll chop it off and eat hot pot. But now, I've given him the 9 emperor seals. It's not appropriate to chop off his head. We are reasonable people after all. We can't just teach him a lesson." The Azure Cat nodded hurriedly. "Yes, we are reasonable. We will fight if we are unreasonable." The liar was right. The Azure Cat agreed with him. Fong Ping laughed. He did not delay any further. He quickly closed his eyes and entered his source world. In the outside world, the heaven-suppressing king watched for a while. He raised his eyebrows slightly, but did not say anything. He still had to be wary of the Tao tree. Fong Ping was still very suspicious. He did not even trust Old Antique. He was well aware of this. Fong Ping had a saying that he had killed all the old antiques. Not many of them were innocent. If he wanted the 3 realms to be at peace, it was best to get rid of all the old fellows. Among these old fellows, was he not one of them? "Hey, I've broken 8. Heavenly King Zhen also sighed in his heart. It was too fast. This time, after seizing the 9 emperors' seal, Fong Ping's strength might have increased a little. As for how much, he could not be sure at the moment. Previously, with Fong Ping's great Tao, it seemed like he could break through to 8 gates. Burning his great Tao had yet to reach the stage of breaking through to 2 gates. After refining the 9 emperor seal, he might be able to break through 2 gates. Thinking of this, Heavenly King Zhen was shocked. If this kid continued to grow so strong, it would be a little scary. "Brat, if this goes on, you'll be in big trouble." Heavenly King Subduing was also a little nervous. This kid Fong Ping might run into big trouble when he broke through 9. Originally, he thought that the day was still early, but now it seemed that there wasn't much time left. The subduing Heavenly King was worried that Fong Ping was in danger. Fong Ping knew this very well. However, as the Tao tree said, with strength, you still had a chance to resist. Without strength, you would really be waiting for death. Other than the unmotivated fellows like Celestial Polarity, which of the living powerhouses did not fight day and night. This was a martial artist. In the source world, looking at the shadows bustling about in the 2 cities, Fong Ping observed for a while, a little dazed. After this qualitative change was completed, would these people become more solid? Maybe. Right now, the faces of the shadows could not be seen clearly. They were just shadows in human form. Fong Ping suspected that as the source expanded, these shadows would one day really condense into human form, condense into their real appearance, just like those projections in the mystic realm. He did not think about this anymore. At this time, the 9 emperors' seal in his hand trembled continuously. Fong Ping let go. In the next moment, the 9 emperors' seal roared and broke through the air. An incomparably huge golden seal replaced the sun at this moment, shining in all directions. Golden rays of light spread across the source world. 9 emperors' seal suppressed the 3 realms. In the 9 emperors' seal, there was a human voice at this time, as if it was left behind by someone in the past. When Fong Ping heard this, he was a little absent-minded. He had seen the projections of those sovereigns and extreme powerhouses before. Other than the earthly sovereign, he had heard the voices of the others. This was not their voice. This was the voice of the Celestial Emperor. Fong Ping thought of the illusion memory he saw in the basilica previously. This seemed to be the voice of the Celestial Emperor. Boom! A loud noise was heard. The huge golden seal came crashing down directly, suppressed the 3 realms. The 9 emperors' seal was used to suppress the 3 realms in the past. This was similar to the 9 cauldrons in Sino Nation's legend. At the same time, the Changdao in Fang Ping's hand suddenly disintegrated. This time, it disintegrated into the saint token and heavenly king seal from before. These saint tokens and heavenly king seals quickly flew in all directions. Rumble! These heavenly king seals and saint tokens were now rapidly expanding the source world. The 9 Emperors seal was in the middle, and the other tokens were surrounding it, forming a circle. This circle of light was constantly expanding. It was expelling the darkness around the source world. Rays of golden light fell, falling into the source world. The ground became more solid, and the heavens and the earth became more real. In the void, there was a gust of wind. There were clouds condensing. Origin of wind. The wind rose. A human voice came from the 9 Emperors seal again. Fang Ping was a little dazed, as if he had seen something. He saw it. Someone had captured the wind in the source universe in the past, the gales that were strong enough to destroy the source stars. Origin of water. Rain fell, forming a large number of lakes and streams in the world once again. The 4 fat babies were extremely excited. All of them rushed out from the lake below, carrying a huge drop of origin of water to welcome the rain. Origin of soil. Rumble. The ground solidified again, mountains and rivers appearing. Wherever the golden light shone, a mountain peak would appear. The more Fang Ping looked, the more solemn he became. He saw a few mountain ranges that felt familiar. Earth? Fang Ping was a little dazed. Was it? Did he have some kind of association? So he mistakenly thought that it was Earth. However, these mountain ranges felt a little familiar to him, even if they were shrunk by billions of times. Previously, in order to integrate the city, Fang Ping had studied these mountains and rivers. What did this mean? The 9 Emperors seal wanted to evolve an Earth in his source world. Was it his will that was leading, or was it originally like this? Rumble. Another rumble sounded. At this moment, the darkness around the source world was suddenly pushed aside. The source world expanded. Rumble. The deafening rumble sounded continuously. As for Fang Ping, he felt some changes. His consciousness became more and more dazed. He felt his flesh changing. He felt his bones changing too. Everything was changing. In his mind, a lollipop with a broken stick was now slowly expanding. The golden light was dazzling, illuminating the entire source world. Rumble. The noise sounded again. This was not the source world, but Fang Ping's flesh was rumbling. The source world was beginning to transform. Rumble. The cat was startled by the noise and hurriedly set up layers of mentality barriers. However, this was not enough. On Fang Ping's golden body, a dazzling brilliance erupted. It was incomparably dazzling. Around him, the powerhouses who were preparing to summon looked again, their expressions fluctuating. Fang Ping was refining the 9 Emperors seal. The Tao tree also frowned at Fang Ping. The 9 Emperors seal was only a weapon or a symbol of authority. Why would there be such a change when Fang Ping obtained it? The experts looked at each other, then at each other, and all of them fell silent. They did not know what they were thinking. Heavenly King Zhen did not say anything either. He stood still 10 meters away from Fang Ping, looking at the sky as if he was looking at the firmament. The God Creation Envoy and the others also looked at each other, then walked around Fang Ping, not saying a word. Fang Ping seemed to be transforming. However, his flesh was already terrifyingly strong. The jade bones were successfully forged. Could the current Fang Ping transform again? They did not understand, because even they had never experienced this before. Under normal circumstances, at this point, Fang Ping actually had no way out. Other than the source world, he continued walking forward. Hiss hiss, The crowd did not hear the sound, but the cat heard it. It turned its head to look, widened its eyes, and looked at Fong Ping adorably. Fong Ping's body seemed to be on fire. The flames were roasting Fong Ping's flesh. Fong Ping's newly recovered flesh was not very strong, but this flame seemed to be constantly burning away the impurities. And then the flame began to replenish the energy, replenishing the consumption. Again and again, and again and again. Gradually, Fong Ping seemed to be burned into a transparent person. At this moment, Fong Ping's flesh, bones, and hair had all become the color of crystal. The mentality barrier blocked everyone's view, but the cat could see a little more. It also saw that in Fong Ping's skull, there was a crystal ball spinning rapidly. Brain nucleus. In the brain nucleus, Fong Ping's source world was wrapped. At this moment, the brain nucleus was also spinning rapidly. The cat stared for a while, its claws scratching its head. It saw a small black hole, as if it could see Fong Ping in it. This kind of transformation continued. Fong Ping was like a man of fire, also burning, forging, and tempered into steel. The gray force began to dissipate, turning into vitality and mentality in the blink of an eye. Soon, it began to turn into force again, continuing to forge Fong Ping's body. The roars were endless. The tremors made the cat tremble nonstop. Gradually, a fragrance wafted from Fong Ping's body. The cat's nose twitched. On the other side, the heavenly hound also sniffed, looking over. The cat swallowed its saliva. It wanted to eat it. It looked delicious. It could not eat it. A liar was not a big fish. A liar's meat did not taste good. The cat swallowed its saliva, continuing to look at Fong Ping. Time passed, bit by bit. As for the Tao tree and the others, at this moment, how could they still have the mood to summon the emperor? Even if they felt that time was delayed, these people all looked over at this moment. Even if the cat blocked them, they could still feel something different. Fong Ping, he was afraid, had become stronger. At this moment, these people all had strange expressions on their faces. Becoming stronger, was it so simple? What kind of transformation had happened to Fong Ping? In the source world, Fong Ping watched as the source world expanded. The heaven and earth changed, the 9 emperors' seal and the other seals turned into a light ball and gradually stopped emitting light. His expression changed slightly. The transformation was completed. Power. He felt power, endless power. This feeling was somewhat similar to when he broke through to the impasse realm. He had completed a huge transformation. I'd become stronger. Fong Ping murmured. Previously, when his basic vitality was converted into force, it was already comparable to a regular martial artist's vitality of 8 million calories. What about this time? Fong Ping felt it silently, quietly experiencing this change. His flesh, bones, mentality, they were all changing. They were all transforming. The force began to dissipate, turning into vitality and mentality. Fong Ping did not care. At this moment, he felt that his control of power was getting stronger and stronger. Not only did the increase in strength not cause him to lose control of power, but it suited him even more. Fong Ping exhaled softly. He could almost feel his current power. Powerful, very powerful. The transformation was completed quickly. Very quickly. This time, the transformation was not too painful, as if it was natural. Wealth, 200 billion points vitality, 15 million calories, 15 million mentality, 99,999 hertz, 99,999 hertz, force, 0 original jade bones, 99% with vitality qualitative change, source world, 1099 meters combat techniques, God-slaying saber techniques, plus 15%. Power control, 99% limit outburst, 2227500 cal, /2250000 cal vitality, mentality, everything had been restored. Not the force, just relying on the vitality force. Fong Ping, with the combat techniques enhancement, actually broke through 20 million calories directly. In other words, right now, he had broken through 8 in his beginner martial arts. Fong Ping took a look, then looked at the source world that was becoming more and more real, his gaze fluctuating for a while. Powerful. At this moment, he had not converted the force yet. However, his mentality seemed to have hit a bottleneck, stopping at 99,999 hertz, unable to reach 100,000 hertz. According to Fong Ping's previous calculations, 100,000 hertz would cause a qualitative change in mentality. It reached 200,000 hertz directly, comparable to those powerhouses who broke through the mentality gate, and also 20 million calories vitality. Converted into force. Fong Ping calculated for a while and quickly made a decision. He wanted to convert it into force. 15 million calories vitality was terrifyingly powerful. Before this, Fong Ping's vitality was 7 for million calories and his mentality 74,000 hertz. This time, both figures had a huge increase. 15 million calories vitality and close to 100,000 hertz of mentality were enough to convert into 1250 force. With so much force, that was 25 million calories vitality force outburst. Great Tao, is it still useful? At this moment, Fong Ping was a little doubtful. Even if it was Heavenly King Great Tao, was it useful now? 25 million calories vitality force plus the combat techniques enhancement. That was more than 28 million calories outburst. In addition to the weapons and a strong physique, Fong Ping felt that, without relying on Great Tao, he was a true second gate powerhouse. Great Tao won't be completely crushed, right? Fong Ping was not too sure, but he still decided to give it a try. Previously, with Heavenly King Great Tao, he was compressed to only 800 meters. This time, it would definitely be much shorter, but even leaving 100 meters would be good. That would already be a 10% increase. Fong Ping exhaled softly and started working quickly. This time, he felt that he had really reached the end. He had obtained all the things that could increase his strength, and all the things that needed to be transformed, he had transformed. Even without the Great Tao, he was still a true second gate broken expert. Even if Great Tao was really useless, Fong Ping did not feel it was a pity. One was external force, the other was his own strength. If his strength had really reached this point, there was actually nothing to feel sorry about. It was just that the future path was not so easy to walk. I'll try pretending to use Great Tao again. If it doesn't work, I'll think of a way to kill a seventh gate powerhouse. And try. Fong Ping had his eyes on King General. There was no other way. Seventh gate powerhouses were becoming fewer and fewer. If he really encountered trouble, who else would he kill if not King Gen? He would keep this one alive first. Chapter 1365. When mentality reached 100,000 hertz, there would be a qualitative change. Generally, powerhouses who had broken 8 would shatter their mentality gate if their mentality reached Fong Ping's level. Through shattering the gate, they would complete this qualitative change. This was as difficult as the Origin's qualitative change. Fong Ping rubbed his chin. If I converted 100 calories of vitality, could it complete the qualitative change in my mentality? If it could, then I would be rich. In reality, when faced with such a huge obstacle, the system was usually useless. As it turned out, the system was indeed useless. The conversion could not be completed. No matter how Fong Ping pointed, howled, or thought, he could not complete this 1 hertz change. Fong Ping was prepared for this, so he did not mind. Very quickly, Fong Ping completed the force conversion this time. Vitality: 5 million calories, 15 million mentality. 0 hertz, 99,999 hertz. Force: 10 million, 20 million calories vitality. He could not convert all of it into force. This time, his mentality and vitality were not balanced, causing the conversion to be incomplete. Still, the effect was the same. With the help of the vitality augmentation technique, his vitality and force reached a balance and could fuse with each other. In other words, Fong Ping's basic vitality was as high as 25 million calories. Before this, after the balance conversion, his basic vitality reached 14.8 million calories. This time, the transformation did not complete a double increase. It was mainly because of his mentality that held him back. Even so, this time, his basic vitality increased by 10 million calories, 25 million calories vitality. This meant that Fong Ping's physique had broken 8 completely, and it was rapidly approaching the point of breaking 2 gates. Now, it depended on how much of the Tao enhancement could leave him. A 15% combat techniques enhancement was Fong Ping's current limit, unless he spent a lot of time cultivating combat techniques. This would be his current peak. The rest depended on the origin. Fong Ping installed Yuan Gang's Tao. This Tao that was 100,000 meters long previously was compressed to only 800 meters. Right now, because the origin was stronger, it was compressed rapidly. Rumble. Fong Ping watched without blinking. 700 meters, 600 meters. Mother asterisk cur, you should have left some for me. Fong Ping's heart ached. The Tao of breaking 6 was not tough enough. His origin was too strong, directly suppressing the Tao until it shrank. If this continued, how much could he leave? Rumble. The rumble continued for a while. Soon, a short Tao appeared in front of Fong Ping. Fong Ping was mentally exhausted. He had left so little. Yuan Gang, that good-for-nothing, was indeed good for nothing. His Tao was not solid enough. Fong Ping felt that if his Emperor path was still around, it would definitely be longer than this. Wealth: 200 billion points vitality. 5 million calories, 15 million spirit. 0 hertz, 99,999 hertz. Force: 1,000 original, 20 million calories vitality. Jade bones, 99% with qualitative change in chi and blood. Source world, 1099 meters battle technique. God slaying sword technique, plus 15%. Origin Tao, 25%. Fake Tao, power control, 99% ultimate outburst. 346500000 cal / 3500000 cal, another 250 meters. The Heavenly King Avenue had shrunk from 800 meters to 250 meters. Fong Ping felt like he was on par with 250. His maximum outburst was as high as 35 million calories. In reality, this was already beyond Fong Ping's expectations. It was still acceptable. Although it had not reached the stage of Breakthrough 9, it had already surpassed the powerhouses who had broken 2 gates and was advancing toward the peak of Breakthrough 2 gates. The other thing that excited Fong Ping was his control over his strength. As the Tao of origin was compressed, he became stronger and stronger. Previously, when he installed the Tao of origin, his control over his strength would drop a little, but now it was still at its previous level, 99%. This meant that Fong Ping had actually improved once again on the 99% path. 35 million calories. Fong Ping raised his head and looked at the 9 Emperor's seal that was still merging. He was slightly excited. How much help would the 9 Emperor's seal bring? If it brought him another 10% or so increase, he would be close to the peak of Breakthrough 8, almost the same as when he had just broken 9. Even if it can't increase by 10%, according to the previous situation, there should still be 5%. Fong Ping calculated for a while. If that was the case, he had really strengthened to the maximum this time. His outburst would exceed 35 million calories. Fortunately, he had seized the 9 Emperors' seal at this time. Otherwise, he would not have had the chance to complete such a huge transformation. At the crucial moment, if I ignite my Tao, I can still fight with Breakthrough 9. But if I ignite my Tao, I won't have any other Tao. The duration, 5 minutes? Fang Ping glanced at this short avenue. It would last at most 5 minutes. In other words, he had the combat strength of Breakthrough 9 for 5 minutes. After igniting his Tao, he could only rely on the basic and combat techniques to increase. The base of 25 million plus the combat techniques was close to 29 million outburst, the level of Breakthrough 2 gates. Without relying on Tao, Breakthrough 2 gates, continuous Tao, about 35 million. Ignite my Tao, I should be able to break through 9. Fang Ping judged and had an idea in his heart. If my mentality goes through a qualitative change and my mentality reaches 200,000 hertz, then I should be able to break through 9. Fang Ping calculated again. Vitality 15 million, mentality 200,000, converted to 1750 origin, which was equivalent to 35 million calories vitality. Tao might not be usable at all, but the combat techniques increase should still be there. In this way, the limit could reach 25 million calories. Physique breakthrough 9. Fang Ping's eyes shone. He could break through 9 physiques. The prerequisite was to complete the last 1 Hertz mentality transformation. If that was the case, he would not need to use his origin, and his physique would break through 9 directly. Mentality transformation. Mentality is only 1 Hertz away. This was definitely a huge hurdle. Fang Ping had an idea in his heart. In the 3 realms, according to Fang Ping's knowledge, there were currently only 5 who had completed mentality transformation. Old Cat, Feng, Hongyu, Forge God Envoy, and Huan. The others, including Suppressing Heavenly King, did not exist before. Suppressing Heavenly King, whether there was one now, Fang Ping was not sure. That fellow was close. This was because this fellow had actually walked on the mentality path previously. In the big 3 realms, other than the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, there were also many powerhouses. In the end, there were only 5 who had completed mentality transformation. This showed how difficult it was to transform mentality. Old Cat, this stupid cat, could not even tell how it had transformed. Mentality transformation, I can break through 9. Other than that, my physique is still lacking jade body. True blood has not spread throughout my body. Previously, Fang Ping felt that he had no way out. Now that he thought about it, there was actually still a way out. Not only that, Fang Ping squinted, looking at one of the data. Source world, 1099 meters. Could it be that the source world could still continue to expand? However, according to the situation of the origin path, the next time it would give him benefits, it might be 2,000 meters. 1,000 meters was almost driving Fang Ping crazy, not to mention 2,000 meters. Fang Ping let out a long sigh. 35 million, that was enough. Today, there were not many in the 3 realms who could match up to him. There were many powerhouses who had broken 2 doors, but the one that Fang Ping was really unsure about was actually the old Suppressing Heavenly King. Besides, the beginner underworld god might also be close to this level. Suppressing Heavenly King, underworld god. Tian Chun? Fang Ping was not too sure. According to everyone's previous analysis, that cat protecting captain had not actually reached this level, not to mention that he had just been revived. However, he could suppress beginner powerhouses in the heavenly cemetery, so he might be stronger than expected. Other than that, there was the fist god among the beginner powerhouses that he had always heard about. This should be the top powerhouse among the suppressed ones, not weaker than the underworld god. At this moment, Fong Ping was no longer looking at the source. It was the three realms. Suppressing Heavenly King might have broken 9. I shouldn't count this old thing. That's me, the underworld god, fist god, Tian Chun. Fong Ping calculated for a while. There were only these 3 whose combat strength was comparable to his. The old ghosts who had broken 9, go away. Among the powerhouses who had broken 8 in the 3 realms, he should be able to rank in the top 5. As for Monster Emperor and Hong Kuan, unless they were hiding their strength, they were all about 32 million calories. As for Fong, this guy had only broken 1 door. He was still a little short of the second door. After he went out, he might be able to break the door of life. Right now, he was comparable to Fong Ping without using Dao. As for the others, no one could compare to Fong Ping. If it was the God Creation Envoy, it should be more than 30 million calories, mainly because of this old guy's artifact skeleton cheating. Fong Ping was truly confident now that he had come this far. At this point, his opponents were no longer powerhouses of the same rank. But those broken 9, those emperors. Rumble! Fong Ping opened his eyes and stood up. His eyes were like the burning sun, bursting with divine light. With a glance, he directly pierced through the cat's mentality barrier, instantly casting it toward the opposite side. On the opposite side stood the God Creation Envoy. At this moment, the God Creation Envoy and Fong Ping looked at each other, their eyes suddenly stinging. Huge waves surged in their hearts. What was his strength? Although he had not broken 2 doors, but with the jade bone forging and the superimposition of the artifact skeleton, he was definitely a powerhouse of the same rank as Hong Kuan and the others. But now, he was actually intimidated by Fong Ping. What was Fong Ping's strength? Breaking 9? The God Creation Envoy could not believe it and did not want to believe it. How could it be possible? The last time they met, this guy had only broken 6. Why did he surpass him now? Did he sense it wrong? As soon as Fong Ping stood up, the cat also dispersed the mentality barrier. Fong Ping casually picked up the cat and placed it on his shoulder. The cat that he thought was heavy before was now ordinary. At this time, Fong Ping looked around again. Everyone was also looking at him in silence. Oppression. Yes, when Fong Ping looked at them again, they felt oppressed, they felt a sense of invasion. Fong Ping used to be very arrogant, but that overbearing sense of invasion, as if he was going to kill you in the next moment, was not there before. Now there was. Even the path tree of breaking 9 narrowed its eyes and said with a smile, "Congratulations, fellow Fong, your strength has improved. In this way, the hope of breaking through is even greater." Fong Ping said calmly, "It's nothing. I barely broke through 8 previously, and now I'm just stabilizing my realm. Breaking 8 is nothing to you guys." After Fong Ping said that, he laughed lightly and said, "But don't push me too hard. If you push me too hard, it's not like I can't fight those who broke 2 doors. Breaking 8. Hearing Fong Ping personally admit that he had broken 8, everyone still exclaimed. There were differences between breaking 8 and breaking 8. For example, King Qian, Li Zhu, Luan, these guys all said that they had broken 8, but it was not stable. The door had not been broken. If the door was not broken, even if they temporarily exploded with the strength of breaking 8, it would not be considered a true breaking 8. Only after going out and successfully breaking through the door would they be considered to have broken 8. As for Fong Ping, he said that his realm was stable now. Obviously, that meant that he could really unleash the strength of breaking 8 with each attack. Moreover, this guy never told the truth. Who knew what was going on with him? Seeing everyone looking at him, Fong Ping smiled and said, "What are you looking at me for? Everyone, are you still breaking through? If we don't move, the power of the rules in this place will recover, and the few emperors who disappeared before will disappear for nothing. Everyone looked at each other. The path tree said in a low voice, "Summon North King." Because of Fong Ping, it had been delayed for a long time. However, without seeing Fong Ping's actual strength, everyone did not have the mood to summon. Although they could not tell now, at least they had some points. The action to summon North King had begun. Like a ghost, Heavenly King Subduer floated in front of Fong Ping. After staring at Fong Ping for a while, he chuckled and said, "Kid, you've broken through 2 doors? No way. How can it be so simple?" Fong Ping smiled and said, "When I had an outburst earlier, I burned my Tao. If I didn't burn it, I could only break through Peak 7. Really? Of course." Fong Ping said helplessly, "Breaking through 2 doors requires an outburst of 30 million calories. Before I came in, my outburst was less than 10 million calories. It's not that fast, even if I wanted to improve." Heavenly King Subduer rubbed his chin. "You're not fooling me? How is that possible? I told you last time to hide some of your strength. Will you tell me all of your strength?" "Of course. Aren't you my godfather?" Fong Ping said with a serious look. "Then, of course, I won't hide it. I always feel that you, kid, don't tell the truth." Heavenly King Subduer muttered. Soon he said in a low voice, "Be careful. Even if you really broke through 2 doors, don't break through 9 doors so quickly. If you break through 9 doors, you, kid, will be in big trouble." Fong Ping smiled and said, "How can I break through 9? That's too far away from me. 40 million calories. It's going up by tens of millions. Do you really think I'm a pervert? Aren't you?" Heavenly King Subduer scolded. "You've already broken through 8. Aren't you? Don't you know? Do you want me to say it for you? I've only cultivated for 3 years, and I've already broken through 8. He was a little annoyed when he said it. The more he thought about it, the more jealous he became. He snorted and said, "Don't be so smug. They're just deliberately tricking you. You, kid, are just a puppet. You'll be killed in a few days. I'll wait to see you make a fool of yourself." Fong Ping narrowed his eyes and smiled. "Godfather, the one who killed me won't be my grandmaster, right?" "Huh. Young God." Fong Ping chuckled. "We're all family. That won't happen, right?" Heavenly King Subduer frowned. After a while, he snorted and said, "Don't think too much. Teacher has thought about becoming a novice emperor, after cultivating to this point, who wouldn't have some ambition. But if he wants to do anything to you, it's not to the extent. You should be careful of the celestial emperor. Why?" Heavenly King Subduer hesitated for a moment and said slowly, "Kid, you walk the path of balance, right?" "Sort of." Heavenly King Subduer hesitated for a while again. "Actually, I've always felt that your role is not to take over or replace. Honestly, when you've cultivated to our realm, will you give up the physical body that you've painstakingly cultivated?" Fong Ping frowned and said in a low voice, "Then you mean mend?" Heavenly King Subduer only had one word. Fong Ping's heart shook. Heavenly King Subduer narrowed his eyes. "You understand?" Fong Ping's heart was in turmoil. Nonsense. Of course he understood. Heavenly King Subduer said again, "There are some things that I didn't say before. I'm afraid you know some of them. There really is a hole in that place. The 3 emperors might be used to cultivate and mend the hole. Not only the 3 emperors, but also Dong Huang." Heavenly King Subduer sneered. "Can one mend the hole, or can balance mend the hole? Or maybe all 3 of them together can mend the hole. The 3 emperors try to mend it. If it doesn't work, throw Dong Huang in and try. If it doesn't work, then get another guy who's completely balanced and throw them in to try. Maybe it will mend it." Fong Ping's eyes flickered. He had always been thinking about taking over the body. fusion. However, thinking about it carefully, when one cultivated to break through 9, or even the Emperor realm, would they be willing to give up their own physical body and everything to take over someone else's body? If it were him, he would not be willing. Heavenly King Subduer said again, other than this possibility, the second possibility is that the one who is mending the hole really can't leave now. He needs a suitable physical body. He wants to escape and throw his own physical body over there to mend the hole. However, he needs a physical body that can give him great strength. Yours is suitable. Fong Ping's eyes were cold. Heavenly Emperor, either he threw himself to mend the hole or his own physical body needed to mend the hole. Heavenly Emperor needed a perfect physical body. Of course, his own was suitable. Balance and strength had little to do with the origin, so he would not be too restricted. This was Fong Ping. Heavenly King Subduer continued, Kid, your strength was average in the past. I can't be bothered to say too much. Rumble! With a loud noise, the sky broke open, and North Emperor descended. Heavenly King Subduer glanced at him and did not look too much. He did not care too much and continued, Ignore them. I've been thinking about a problem before. Dong Huang was actually more suitable to mend the hole than the 3 emperors back then. However, Dong Huang might still be alive, but the 3 emperors are dead, Fong Ping said coldly. Dong Huang suggested using the 3 emperors to mend the hole. I thought this guy was ruthless before, but now it seems that he was trying to save himself. When Dong Huang proved his Tao, the 3 forces were not balanced, and he was just a little short. Was it really impossible, or was it intentional? Did Dong Huang already know something? That was why he gave up on purpose. The 3 emperors were all at extremities. Letting the 3 extremities mend the hole would be more suitable than letting him, an unbalanced guy. Perhaps the effect would be better. If that was the case, Dong Huang might have been prepared. In fact, Heavenly Emperor might have wanted to use Dong Huang to mend the hole in the beginning. Thinking of this, Fong Ping frowned. His clone appeared before and encouraged old Huang to break all 3 gates. Fong Ping's expression darkened. Could it be that he's plotting against old Huang and wants another backup? That's possible. Heavenly King Zhen sighed. Heavenly Emperor Zhan was said to be the 3 emperors' disciple, but in fact, he learned the most from Dong Huang. He was also following Dong Huang's path of balance. Zhan's talent is extraordinary and terrifying. Dong Huang might have had this idea back then, to let Zhan replace him and become the person to mend the hole. However, in the end, Zhan did not achieve the balance of the 3 forces. Heavenly King Zhen thought for a while and said, So, what you said is possible. Wang Jinyang might be one of his choices. Even if he can't mend the hole, he can still mend the hole left after he escaped. The 9 emperors were all trapped now. Every one of them was using their origin to fill up a crack. Dong Huang nurtured old Wang, perhaps to mend the hole after he left. Fong Ping's gaze sharpened again. Heavenly Emperor reverse nurtured Hong Kuan. Heavenly Emperor reverse must have occupied some of the energy origin. After he left, he needed an energy path powerhouse to mend the hole. Heavenly Emperor reverse chose Hong Kuan. Renhuang's vitality is strong. Maybe he needs a powerhouse with strong vitality to mend the hole after he left. Who will go? Fong Ping looked at Heavenly King Zhen. He gritted his teeth and said, Me or old Zhang? No, I might be the Celestial Emperor's backup. Then old Zhang, is he a candidate for Ren Huang? Heavenly King Zhen saw him say this and sighed. You've guessed it, Fong Ping said with a gloomy face. I finally understand. There are a few big flags in the 3 realms. There is the arrangement of the Celestial Emperor and the 9 emperors. Everyone hopes to cultivate a powerhouse who can replace him, at least with the strength to break through 9 or even become an emperor. Tao tree. Is it the arrangement of the divine emperor? It should be. Fang Ping corresponded in his heart. Divine emperor, Tao tree, Dong Huang, maybe Old Wang, maybe there were other arrangements. Ren Huang, there were actually many powerhouses who could choose from vitality. The chance of becoming a Ren Huang was very high. Emperor Nan, vitality restoration technique. Damn, vitality restoration technique might not be a good thing. Emperor Nan's clone might also want to find a replacement. He might have caught Emperor Nan's eye. Emperor Shi, a powerhouse of mentality. Previously, the God-forging envoy said that Emperor Shi was willing to cooperate with him. He might have taken a fancy to the God-forging envoy. North Emperor, a powerhouse who had a strong physical body, a powerhouse who had forged jade bones could do it. Moon's spirit had been forging jade bones all this time. Could he have set his eyes on his daughter? The emperor was so angry before and descended directly. Could it be that the emperor had set his eyes on the weapon master from the beginning? Fang Ping suspected. If that was the case, there would be a reason for the emperor's descent that day. Spirit Emperor. Who has the Spirit Emperor taken a fancy to? Fang Ping suddenly looked at the cat. The cat on his shoulder was still yawning. Fang Ping frowned. The Spirit Emperor said that he could go to 9th heaven to look for her when he broke through 9. Could it be that he had taken a fancy to the cat? Not necessarily. There might be other alternatives. Every emperor definitely had a candidate, someone who could replace him. At this moment, Fang Ping really felt that he had seen through some of the 3 realms' general situation. He had seen through some of the emperor's arrangements. Let someone become an emperor, let someone replace them, let them escape, seize the seed, prove their Tao, and transcend, no longer being controlled by the 3 realms. Beast Emperor. This guy might have taken a fancy to the Monster Emperor. If I kill the Monster Emperor, the Beast Emperor might come. Emperors are heartless. Fang Ping snorted. The 3 realms was a game of chess, and they were all chess pieces. The 9 emperors each made their move. They were creating an era of emperors, an opportunity to become emperors. There was more than one emperor. Apart from the earthly sovereign, they might need 8 emperors. No, Emperor of Heaven, Reverse, also needed them. He might have proven his Tao and become an Emperor of Origin. In that case, they needed 9 people to replace them. The emperors knew each other. That was why they needed a great era. That was why they cooperated. That was why they gathered the powerhouses of all eras in the 3 realms in this generation. They were to fight, to become emperors. Fang Ping squinted. Heavenly King Zhen sighed. Didn't you want to know why unquestionable Jian was in despair? It might not be because he saw those memories. It was because he knew he was just a substitute for one of them. Fang Ping's pupils contracted. At this moment, he suddenly understood. He really understood. Unquestionable Jian might not be in despair because his Tao of origin was trapped in the celestial source. This time, many people saw this scene. But how many of them were truly in despair? Unquestionable Jian was in despair because he knew who was plotting against him. Not the title, not anyone else, but a human emperor. He might even know who it was. That was why he was in despair. He felt that he could not get rid of it. That was why he wanted to escape. He had been someone else's pawn all his life. At the last moment, he was truly free. Whose substitute is he? Heavenly King Zhen shook his head. He is an expert in the path of vitality. There are many who follow this path. Emperor Ren Huang, Emperor North, Emperor Beast, Emperor Nan, Emperor Ling, all of them are possible. He must have discovered something and found out everything. That is why he chose to reincarnate, hoping to walk the path of emperor to get rid of everything. Fang Ping gritted his teeth. What about you? Me? Heavenly King Jin chuckled. I don't care how they plot against me. I will not become an emperor, even if I die. What else can they do? You kid, either you are unlucky when you break through 9, or you are unlucky when you become an emperor. Someone will definitely ambush you at the source. You really know a lot. Fang Ping snorted. Heavenly King Jun sneered. You were so weak before. Why would I tell you? Unquestionable Jian knew. What happened in the end? In the end, he chose to die. You are only at this realm. I feel that if I don't tell you now, you might be killed by others. That is why I chose to tell you. Do the others know? Fang Ping looked at Broken 8. Heavenly King Jin pondered for a while. Probably not, but after thinking for a while, Heavenly King Jin laughed. Maybe some people have some guesses. For example, Hong Yu. His death back then might have been his own plan. Otherwise, with his strength, he would not have died so easily. Also, these two brothers might be performing a two-man act. Be careful. Hong Yu's Earth Emperor God dynasty was destroyed by Hong Kuan. According to the situation back then, Hong Yu had a chance of successfully proving his Tao. But it was all ruined by Hong Kuan. These two brothers don't think that they are really going against each other. Then why are they thinking of becoming emperors now? Opportunity. Heavenly King Jin laughed. They are all waiting for the right time. If it was just one person becoming an emperor, they might not be able to defeat those guys. But if there are many of them, there is hope. Moreover, the Tao tree is the first to try. Do you think everyone really doesn't know? They are all waiting to see what happens to the Tao tree. Then, based on this, they will decide what to do in the future, whether to give up cultivation or continue to cultivate to become an emperor. You make it sound like becoming an emperor is very simple. Fang Ping was speechless. Heavenly King Jin laughed. Don't say that. Just wait and see. The day the heaven-human realm wall shatters will be the day when the 3 realms break, and a large number of people become emperors. What do you think? Do you really think the heaven-human realm wall is a barrier? Wrong. Heavenly King Jin said in a low voice, that is the barrier that separates the origin and the 3 realms. Why is it not called the barrier between the land realm and the human realm, but the heaven-human realm wall? Because the human realm represents the 3 realms. The heavens represent the origin and the 9 heavens. Once the heaven-human realm wall shatters, the great Tao is right in front of you. You have to go whether you want to or not. Fang Ping inhaled again. This was forcing the powerhouses to prove their Tao. The 9 emperors were all waiting for such an opportunity. No wonder they wanted to destroy the Tao tree to prove their Tao. It was not to guard against the Tao tree, but to not give the Divine Emperor a chance to escape. This also meant that the Divine Emperor would definitely take this seriously. Fang Ping's eyes flickered. If the Divine Emperor took this seriously, it meant that the other emperors would not agree. This time, there was a chance. Chapter 1366. The emperor wanted to mend his own small hole. This was a personal scheme. Mending the hole in the quintessence was the plan of all the experts of the quintessence Tao lineage. As a result, countless experts set foot in it. All living beings in the 3 realms were now players in the game of chess. Fang Ping smiled. It was good, as long as he wasn't the only one. Since they were all pawns, then they should all be pawns. Even the 9 emperors were nothing more than pawns. Just as he was thinking about this, Moon's spirit let out a low groan. With a loud rumble, the North Emperor disappeared. Fang Ping raised an eyebrow. Who was North King's replacement? Could it be Moon Spirit? As for Lu Shan, it didn't seem like it. Fang Ping felt that the people among the patrols might not be substitutes for Monarch, because these fellows might be leftovers from Monarch's selection. He felt that it was useless. Those who truly had a chance of breaking through to the Emperor level were actually all in the three realms. At this moment, Emperor Nan, North Emperor, Beast Emperor, and Celestial Emperor Batian had all disappeared. Since the earthly sovereign realm had been defeated, there were still 8 earthly sovereigns left to choose. This time, I'll destroy the Celestial Larch. The Tao Tree spoke. Quite a bit of rule force was consumed, probably close to 20%. The Tao Tree was in a good mood. If this went on, they would soon be able to give it a try. Heaven exterminating Emperor, Fang Ping's eyes flashed. This projection might be the only one left of the 3 emperors. Unlike the others who still had their true bodies, the heaven-exterminating monarch had helped him repair his brain nucleus previously. Was he really going to let these people use his projection as they pleased? As for Celestial Emperor Batian, from before, Fang Ping did not think that these fellows might really be dead, leaving only their projections. Now that he thought about it, it was quite a pity that Celestial Emperor Batian was obliterated by the rules in order to fulfill Ironhead's wish. Perhaps the Celestial Monarch Batian knew that this day would come. That was why he chose that path. Heaven destroying the Arch was more direct than heaven destroying the Arch. Heaven destroying the Arch was more calculative, but heaven destroying the Arch wasn't. Perhaps he was unwilling, or perhaps he was too lazy to scheme. Fang Ping looked at the Heavenly King, subduing. The Heavenly King, subduing, frowned slightly. You want to stop me? All these people want to clear the level now. If you stop them, you'll be making everyone your enemy. Fang Ping, sometimes you still have to consider the practical side. The heaven-exterminating emperor, Heavenly King Zhen raised his hand and said, I know what you're thinking. You have a close relationship with the 3 reincarnations of the 3 emperors, and you don't want to see them disappear. However, this is the law that already exists. Even if you stop them now, they will die when this place collapses. Fang Ping's expression changed. Heavenly King, subduing, sighed. The living are more important. Fang Ping, if they don't die now, when our plan is implemented, they will die in our hands. Do you want to die in our hands? Or Fang Ping's expression continued to change. Then he said in a low voice, Fine, I don't care anymore. Then let's wait and see. Old man, this time, not only do I want things, I want to kill people. Kill who? Who do you want to kill? Heavenly King, subduing, asked. Fang Ping looked around and said slowly, Tao Tree, I won't allow him to become an emperor. I won't allow him to help the god, emperor, escape. Dong Huang's clone, I'm going to kill this fellow, regardless of whether he has any ulterior motives. As for the other emperor clones, kill as many as you can. Very difficult. Heavenly King Zhen smiled and said, Think about it carefully. This time, the emperor clones will most likely not kill you. Of course, these people have their own plans. They may also know who each other's pawns are, and they may attack some of you. Every emperor did not want the others to escape as soon as possible. This was inevitable. They restrained each other. Otherwise, if one person escaped, the others might become fillers for the origin. Therefore, no one agreed to the god emperor's people proving their Tao. If that was the case, some of the emperor clones might attack some people and kill the other emperor's pawns. I'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, then forget it. Fang Ping said no more and looked at the people who had begun to summon sky extermination. Sky extermination was about to disappear from the 3 realms. The 3 emperors were different from the others. Their disappearance this time might completely disappear from the 3 realms. Sky extermination checkpoint. Nia was no longer sitting cross-legged on the stone platform, walking in the Hall of Myriad Origins. This was where he used to teach his disciples. With his hands behind his back, he walked and stopped. He opened the small rooms one by one, and they were all empty. In the past, among the four emperors, he had the most disciples. However, he also had the most deaths. Feeling a beam of light piercing through him, Sky Extermination smiled. There was no longer any coldness on his cold face. The next moment, the beam of light pierced through the Hall of Myriad Origins and landed in front of him. Rules. Sky Extermination shook his head gently, chuckled again, and slowly stepped onto the beam of light. Following the beam of light, he walked toward the heavenly gate. After walking out of his checkpoint, Sky Extermination suddenly turned around and looked at a ball of light in the endless darkness. At this moment, a shadow appeared on the ball of light. That was the checkpoint where Sky Extermination was fighting. "Brother Jean, I'll make a move first," Sky Extermination said softly. On the other side, the figure bowed slightly, as if sending him off. Sky Extermination smiled and continued walking. As he walked, he said, "The problem of the origin still needs to be solved. The origin is a great Tao, not a minor Tao. Many people walk on it. If we don't solve it, the three realms will sooner or later have a hidden danger. The Tao of myriad Taos contends. Even if a new Tao appears, it will not be destroyed immediately. Even if this generation creates a new Tao 10,000 years later, 100,000 years later, someone might discover the Tao of origin. When that time comes, this scene will repeat itself." Sky Extermination smiled. "Therefore, this hole needs to be mended. But why do we need the people of the three realms to make up for it? Jean, you are the most outstanding among us. There are some things that you can see more clearly than us. We can't fix it, but if we fill in the 9 old fogies, no, add a few of you, this hole should be fixed." At this moment, outside the beam of light, a figure appeared. Sky Extermination Narch. 2 Cat was also lying on his shoulder, looking at Sky Extermination Narch with a bitter expression. "Big black face, you're leaving?" "Yes, I'm leaving." Sky Extermination Narch chuckled. "We should fill in your cat as well. If the few of them and you, stupid cat, can catch the seeds and fill in the seeds together, this hidden danger should be gone." Sky Extermination Narch looked at him and said slowly, "Beginner martial arts and origin should be combined. The weakness of the origin has a lot to do with the beginner martial arts. Those few have extracted too much energy and are unwilling to return it. The origin can only extract the beginner martial arts of the origin martial artists, causing the origin physical body of the three realms to become weaker and weaker." As Sky Extermination Narch walked, he laughed. "That has nothing to do with me. Actually, it has nothing to do with you. But do as you see fit. Perhaps you and I can meet again. I hope we can fight again." Sky Extermination Narch said regretfully, "I heard that you died earlier than me. It's a pity that we did not have the chance to fight together." Sky Extermination Narch looked at him and said softly, "Why don't we fight together this time?" "I can't do it anymore. I'll be a burden to you." Sky Extermination Narch chuckled. "I'll go and whittle away some of the energy, lest it causes too much pressure on you. After all, you are not a clone. The pressure on you is too great. Those guys are all clones. They are different. No fear." Sky Extermination Narch was indifferent. "No matter how fearless you are just a projection. A little bit weaker is fine." Sky Extermination Narch looked at the tunnel in front of him and laughed. "Let's go back. If you appear now, the pressure will be too great. Let them whittle away a little more." Without turning back, Sky Extermination, the Arch waved his hand and laughed. Stupid cat, why don't you come with me? Before I leave, I miss you a little. No. Two Cat rejected and muttered, You only know how to bully cats. You like big dogs. Why don't you transform into a big dog and bring it along? Ha ha ha. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed. Forget it, that dog is boring. It is stupid and only knows how to cultivate its physical body. The more it cultivates, the dumber it becomes. It is just like a fool. Bringing a fool is better than bringing it along. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed as well. Brother Extermination, slow down. Wait for us. In this world, there is no Yellow Springs path. It cannot wait for you. Maybe there is. Ha ha ha, that's true. Sky Extermination, the Arch, who had always been cold, laughed heartily. A long spear appeared in his hand as he walked along the light pillar. Just as he was about to enter the tunnel, Sky Extermination, the Arch suddenly turned back. You are a sentimental person. I did not want to ask, but I still have to ask. Were you really no match for the Emperor's back then? Silence. Sky Extermination, the Arch looked lost. Then he laughed. I understand now. I'm sorry. Sky Extermination, Thearka's calm face revealed a tinge of sadness and apology. Brother Extermination, you and the fool, it's nothing. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed. I was just a little confused. Now I understand. You are our brother. The four Thearchs are equally famous. Forget about fighting that old thing. We watched you grow up, the fool, and I should have made this trip. You, what a pity. Sky Extermination, the Arch, was even sadder. He lowered his head. Brother Extermination, Jean has only let you down in this lifetime. There is no need for this between brothers. Ha ha ha, he really left. Brother Jean, let the three realms and the emperors see that you, Jean, are stronger and more outstanding than them. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed as he stepped into the tunnel and disappeared. Sky Extermination, the Arch had left. Sky Extermination, the Arch stared at the tunnel for a long time. Suddenly, a blood-colored bow appeared on his back, and a blood-colored saber appeared in his hand. His aura was completely different from before. He was no longer calm and indifferent. I wanted to fill in the gap, but who would have thought that they would not let you and him off? Sky Extermination, the Arch mocked himself. He looked up at the sky and laughed. I may be stupid, but I know that if I can't fill in the gap, the two of them can't. Why kill them? Boom. The color of heaven and earth changed. Countless nomological powers attacked from all directions. Jean was still standing where he was. The nomological powers could not get close to him. On his shoulder, Second Cat muttered, You are so silly. Big Cat's master is smarter than you. He is so domineering. He will beat up anyone he doesn't like. Big Cat said that he will kill anyone who dares to bully him. He is so powerful. Humph, if it was him back then, he would have beaten all those old men to death and stuffed them into the pit. You are so stupid. Yes, I am very stupid. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed. It was as if the outburst just now had never happened. You are not stupid. You know that you should look for the stronger ones. Do you really want to leave with me? I will think of a way to protect you. Forget it. Second Cat was dispirited. Nothing tastes good. I can't sleep either. I can't eat. I can't sleep. Why am I still alive? Cats eat, drink, and sleep. I will accompany you to see the other world. Maybe I can eat and drink good food. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed. It was a sad laugh. His figure disappeared from the spot instantly. In this life, he had never let anyone down except for the two brothers. In the past, if I was willing to fight, would they Be able to live? I don't know. But he gave up. In the tunnel, the sky was torn apart. Sky Extermination Arch, who was holding a spear, stepped on the air and landed. He ignored the Tao tree and the others. He looked at Fong Ping's direction. Very quickly, he saw Iron Head, who was mixed in with the beginner martial artists. Sky Extermination, the Arch laughed. Fong Ping hesitated for a moment, but still stepped forward. He looked at Sky Extermination, the Arch, without saying a word. Sky Extermination, the Arch, looked at him too. As he looked, he suddenly laughed. I will try my best to wear down the power of the rule. You don't have to summon anymore. The other stages can't be summoned. It's just a waste of energy. The Tao tree's expression changed slightly. He looked at Sky Extermination Arch and said in a low voice, Does Sky Extermination, the Arch, know about the other stages? Sky Extermination, the Arch ignored him. He was willing to talk to those he liked. Those he did not like, he could not even be bothered to talk to. He glanced at Fong Ping again. He did not speak to Fong Ping. He looked at Fong, who was bowing in the crowd. Sky Extermination, the Arch said calmly, Our master-disciple relationship ends today. Teacher, Fong was a little sad. Fong Ping could not tell if it was real or not. Who could tell if it was real or not? Sky Extermination, the Arch raised his hand, stopping him from continuing. He looked around again and smiled. Live on. Perhaps dying is better than dying. As soon as he finished speaking, Sky Extermination, the Arch stepped into the tunnel with his spear. Countless giant hands covered the area. Sky Extermination, the Arch swept his spear in all directions. Rumble! Countless giant hands were destroyed. In the blink of an eye, Sky Extermination, the Arch advanced 100 meters. At this time, the power of the rule was even stronger. Descend! With a low roar, a world descended. Fong Ping and the others felt as if they were in a primitive world. This was the world that Fong Ping had seen before. Countless monsters and wild beasts soared into the sky and fought the giant hands. Sky Extermination, the Arch, continued forward. His spear was like a dragon. It was as if he had entered an uninhabited land. The giant hands covered and destroyed everything with one spear. Domineering. Powerful. Fong Ping could not help but look at Fong and Huan. Powerhouses in the path of mentality always gave him the impression that they were calculative but not brave enough. Today, however, Sky Extermination, the Arch changed his view. Even though he had used his origin energy to suppress the surroundings, his usage of the spear had reached a superb level. With a single thrust, the giant hand would shatter. Furthermore, he did not expend too much energy. His control over his strength was also frighteningly high. He was even stronger than the previous few. Sky Extermination, the Arch gave Fong Ping the impression that he only had the strength to break 2 gates at most. But the current him swept through everything. In the blink of an eye, he had swept through 1,000 meters. Breaking Nine's Tao tree could at most walk 3,000 meters before returning. This did not mean that the Tao tree could walk 6,000 meters. This was because on the way back, the power of the natural order would be weaker. But now, Sky Extermination Arch was getting stronger as he fought. Even the Tao tree was frowning slightly. Actually, everyone was a little puzzled. The previous few emperors were also fighting, but they were not like Sky Extermination Arch, who was fighting a bloody battle. The previous few emperors gave them the impression that they were just dealing with the mission and the rules. When it was about time, they could unleash the final attack. As for Sky Extermination Arch, he did not waste an ounce of energy. He struck with his spear, destroyed, killed. Every strike seemed to be calculated, saving every ounce of energy to wear down more of the natural order's power. The four emperors had used up about 20% of the natural order's power. As for Sky Extermination Arch, he had already used up more than 5%. But he was still fighting. Desolate. Solemn. Sky Extermination, the Arch treated this battle as if it was the real last battle. Gradually, Fong Ping and the others felt something different. Bang! A gigantic palm smashed half of Sky Extermination Thearka's body. If it were the previous emperors, they would have unleashed the final attack by now. But Sky Extermination, the Arch did not. He was retreating, not tangling with the gigantic palm, but continuing to smash the other palms nearby. Uffed, crisp sounds were heard. Palm after palm was smashed, lightning after lightning was smashed. Sky Extermination, the Arch did not say a word, continuing to fight. More and more giant palms covered the sky, but he was still holding on. Destroy. With a low roar, Sky Extermination, the Arch moved even faster. With a sweep of his spear, palm after palm was smashed. Bang! The desolate source world suddenly collapsed, and the hundreds of palms that had been drawn into it collapsed as well. Sky Extermination, the Arch was already at the end of his rope, but everyone was extremely solemn as they watched. This was an invincible powerhouse fighting the final battle of his life. It was the real final battle. Unlike the previous few who were half-hearted, he was only at the strength of a second gate breaker, but he was getting further and further away. 2,000 meters, 3,000 meters, he had already reached the limit of the Tao tree. Even though his body was battered, he was still fighting with all his might. Why? The Tao tree murmured. He was a little confused. Why? Sky Extermination, the Arch was only a projection, not his real body. Projections were created by the laws, and as long as they followed the laws, everything would be fine. When Sky Extermination the Arch was injured for the first time, he should have used all his strength and fought to the death. He should not have been like this, killing his way forward as if he was going to kill to the end. This is an invincible powerhouse of the three realms. Someone said in a low voice, this was a true invincible expert, never giving up, never compromising, fighting to the very last moment, fighting to the end of his life. In the passageway, Sky Extermination the Arch was already in a daze, but he smiled again. Fight, I've done my best. As a projection created by the laws, he would be suppressed by the power of the laws. The more he expended, the more he could unleash. At this moment, how much had he expended? After making a rough estimation, Sky Extermination, the Arch smiled again. Not bad, but it was still not enough. Fuse. At this moment, everyone's hearts trembled. In the passageway, a spear emitted a blinding light. Sky Extermination Thearka's figure instantly dissipated, but the spear erupted with an aura that shocked even the 9-gate breaker. Kill. Rumble. A spear tore through heaven and earth, shooting straight towards the end of the passageway. Wherever it passed, be it the giant hand that covered the sky or the power of lightning, they were all destroyed. In the three realms, a spear was projected. It covered the sky and earth. There were no other words, only a sharp and murderous aura that shook the three realms. The other emperors had also projected themselves previously. However, they were only projections. They did not have this murderous aura. In a dilapidated world, the spear in Yao Qingjuan's hand trembled, as if it was about to soar into the sky at the next moment. Yao Qingjun gripped the spear tightly and looked at the spear that covered the sky and earth. It was exactly the same as the God Extermination spear in his hand. Destroy! Yao Qingjun shouted in a low voice. Sky Extermination Arch, above the Forbidden Ocean. Sage Lin Hai knelt on the ground with a loud bang, sobbing uncontrollably. Master, He had fallen. The spear covered the sky and earth, and the previous few projections were projected. There were emperors that shook the 9 heavens and the source universe. But this time, there was none. He had really fallen, outside the 9 heavens, below the immortal source. The beast emperor and the others stood up and looked at the spear that even the 9 heavens had projected. Everyone seemed happy and sad at the same time. The extreme Tao was already a thing of the past. Extermination had already disappeared from the 3 realms. There's still battle. Someone said in a low voice. Someone sneered. Battle. Those who enter, be careful. All of you should know how we won that battle 8,000 years ago. This emperor wants to see who will lose their avatar this time. The beast emperor said coldly, Anyway, I don't have a clone inside. If extermination uses his full strength, I'm afraid he will only pave the way for battle. I also want to see who will die this time. Silence. The 9 heavens was extremely quiet. Battle. That battle 8,000 years ago. Everyone could not help but recall the scene back then. I will bury myself, fill the sea, and suppress the source. That shout was still unforgettable. However, they still failed in the end. Even extermination and tyrant could not escape that calamity. Deep in the source universe, outside the 3 heavens, someone sighed. Will he make a move? I don't know. You are his teacher. The relationship between master and disciple has long been repaid. The divine emperor was the one who presided over the Qi and blood gate on behalf of the human emperor. The divine emperor looked at the 2 in the distance and closed his eyes, not saying a word. In the battle 8,000 years ago, if Jean did not die first, if he had allied with the 2 emperors, if he had roped in a few sovereigns, would things have turned out the same way? The earthly sovereign wholeheartedly wanted to ally with the 3 emperors, but in the end, he was rejected by Jean. What a pity! Even though he had participated in that battle, he still felt that it was a pity. Rumble! The loud explosion caused some of the weaker cultivators to bleed from their orifices. The Tao tree exclaimed in surprise, 40%! Yanko, 4 emperors, consumed 20% of his rule force. Killing 1 person actually consumed 20% of his rule force. This was unexpected and unbelievable. He was pleasantly surprised. This was far beyond his expectations. In the passage, a spear mark ran through the entire passage. Up until the moment of his death, Mie did not utter a single word. Fang Ping watched in silence. Looking at everything, he suddenly let out a laugh. In the 3 realms, only the 3 emperors hadn't set up a trap. No, maybe there is, but the 3 emperors were really dead. He glanced coldly at the excited Tao tree, then at Hong Yu and the rest, who had a complicated look in their eyes. Fang Ping let out a cold laugh. Do you think this is a battle for you? You are thinking too much. Today, something unexpected might happen. Jean was still here. Fang Ping felt that Jean did not answer the summons, not because he was afraid of death, but because he had other motives. But it might have nothing to do with him. He wondered which unlucky bastard would have to pay for the 3 emperors' deaths today. At the same time, the Tao tree shouted, "Summon the emperors again, force them to break through." At this moment, there was a rumble. Behind them, the divine gate opened. There's no need to summon anymore. A voice was heard. Someone said with a faint smile, "Let's work together and break through. Let's use our strength." Fang Ping turned around and squinted. Interesting. Emperor West, Emperor Spirit, Emperor of Heaven Reverse, Emperor God, Emperor East, and Emperor Renhuang. 6 powerhouses had arrived. Who was the Emperor God? Fang Ping was shocked. The suppressing heavenly king here was definitely a breakthrough peak 8. Who was the Emperor God? Chapter 1367. Fong Ping turned to Heavenly King Zhen, who looked indifferent, as if he did not see anything. Who knew who the Emperor God's avatar was? Heavenly King Zhen did not know. Who else could the Emperor God's avatar be but the Emperor God? Fong Ping stared at Heavenly King Zhen for a while, and then turned to the 6 avatars. He frowned in silence. He thought they were going to hide, and would only show up when the passageway was opened. He did not expect them to show up now. The Tao Tree was also frowning at the Emperor God. Was this his teacher? The glow in his eyes was restrained. He was also an invincible powerhouse who had broken 9. He had extraordinary eyesight. After a quick check, the look in his eyes changed. Powerhouses that were not weaker than him. It was hard to tell if they were avatars of the Emperor God. These avatars of the Emperor God were just avatars. Their auras were restrained, and their looks were molded at will. It was hard to tell if they were real or fake. Were the 6 powerhouses really their avatars? Not necessarily. Maybe someone was impersonating. Unless the battle was at its climax, and these people could not control themselves, then they could tell. 6. It was hard to tell if all of them had broken 9. The avatars of those who had broken 9 were not made randomly. It was possible that some of them had only broken 8. But if they did not make a move now, it would not make a difference. The biggest difference between avatars and the host was that the origin was not visible. The origin of the avatars was the host's origin. Of course, the host's origin was powerful, but how much the avatars could exert would depend on the materials used to make the avatars and the amount of spiritual consciousness the Emperor God used. When the 6 avatars arrived, Hongyu and the others looked grim. At this moment, breaking 8 was really not enough. The beginner martial powerhouses all had solemn expressions as they gathered together. The beginner martial artists and the Origin had been enemies for years. Apart from Emperor of Heaven Reverse, the others were all avatars of the Origin God. They would not survive once the avatars attacked them. Nobody said a word. After a while, the Tao Tree bowed slightly and said, "Greetings, Master. Greetings, Uncle Masters. Rise." The Divine Emperor's expression was calm, and there was nothing unusual about him. Emperor Donghuang smiled. "Tao Tree, it has been years. I didn't know you had broken 9. You are indeed my favorite student. Martial Uncle, you must be joking." The Tao Tree bowed again, maintaining the appropriate amount of respect. Emperor Donghuang was also an ancient emperor, the second one to become an emperor. Compared to the others, including the Emperor of Heaven Reverse, he might not be as early as Donghuang. However, the Tao Tree knew in his heart that these people were not here to reminisce with him, but to stop him from proving his Tao. The Tao Tree was on high alert, glancing at Fong Ping from the corner of his eyes. He then looked at the God Emperor. The God Emperor's expression did not change, but his eyebrows twitched slightly. The Tao Tree suddenly heaved a sigh of relief. His master was telling him that there was no problem. The heaven-sundering jade was still there. This meant that his master's main body could still descend. In this way, even if the clones of the emperors were present, they would be able to deal with it. More importantly, the Divine Emperor's clone knew about the heaven-sundering jade, which meant that it might really be his master's clone. It was not impossible. After all, the Tao Tree was about to corroborate the Tao. If the Divine Emperor didn't do anything, it would be suspicious. The Tao Tree thought about it. Master might have really sent an avatar to descend. Otherwise, Donghuang and the others would have guessed something. They chatted for a while. The God Emperor looked at the heaven-subduing king. He was no longer stern. He put on a faint smile and asked, "Is his brother Yang here?" The heaven-subduing king answered lazily, "I don't know." Ever since I came to the human world 8,000 years ago, I have never seen my master. If you want to find him, go find him yourself. If you can't find him, I can't either." The god emperor smiled. He did not mind. Among the 6 people here, the god emperor and the emperor of heaven reverse were in the form of elders. Dong Huang, Shi Huang, and the emperor of heaven reverse were middle-aged. Spirit Emperor was still handsome. He held a sword in his hand and said nothing. At the moment, he was looking at Fong Ping with hostility. Fong Ping felt uncomfortable under Spirit Emperor's gaze. He mumbled something. How powerful were the powerhouses here? Fong Ping's mumbling could not be hidden from the others, even the God Emperor, and the others could not help but chuckle. What a brave king of man. What are you looking at? As if you've never seen a handsome guy before. I'm only 21 years old. I don't look at an antique that is tens of thousands of years old. That was what Fong Ping was mumbling. He did not even try to cover it up. Spirit Emperor's eyes glowed coldly. His face was hostile. Fong Ping did not care at all. He did not care how powerful these avatars were, or how many there were. To be able to break 9 avatars for a short period of time, this was his confidence. With confidence, he was not afraid of these people. At this moment, seeing that the others did not speak, Fong Ping said directly, "Cut the nonsense. Stand on the side when it's time. Everyone, divide your forces and fight later. Don't think about doing something in the dark. You've lived for so many years. It's meaningless to do that." Fong Ping said, looked at Spirit Emperor, squinted, and asked, "Spirit Emperor, is the previous agreement still effective? If it's effective, then come. If it's not effective, then we'll go our separate ways. Anyway, I've taken the thing. Don't expect to return it." As he said that, Fong Ping called out, "Luan, Sherpa, Tengu, the 3 of you come to my place. 4 of us break 8 avatars. It's not a bad idea to kill one that broke 9 avatars. Heaven subduing king, God creation envoy, you 2 do as you please." Fong Ping was extraordinarily bold. Everyone who heard him was trembling inside. Fong Ping did not care about this. He called out to a few people and looked at the emperors again. He smiled and said, "Spirit Emperor, are you coming? If you don't come, then forget it. Emperor West, are you coming or not? If you do, I can still entertain the God creation envoy." Emperor West laughed in spite of himself and said with a chuckle, "Fong Ping, I'm just breaking through to see the seed projection." "Who said I'm going to start a war?" Fong Ping said unhappily, "Are you coming or not? If you don't come, then forget it. Celestial Pole, you protect yourself. If you come, Celestial Pole, this trash that broke 6 can come to me to avoid the limelight, lest he gets killed, casually." On the other side, Celestial Pole's face darkened. "I'm not going." Thinking of this, Celestial Pole looked at Emperor West. His gaze was a little complicated. He snorted softly and said, "I want to go back. Go to the Western Imperial Palace. Send me out." These words were said to Emperor West. He did not want to stay here anyway. It was dangerous everywhere. Although his father's avatar had descended, was this insurance? Stop joking. The key was that it was hard to say whether this was his father's avatar or not. Who knew if it was someone else pretending to be him? If someone else pretended to be him, he would be even more unlucky later. Emperor West glanced at Celestial Pole and said softly, "Going out now might be more dangerous. It's better to stay. When this place is broken, we'll leave together." Everyone's expression changed slightly. What did he mean? No one explained. Right now, outside, there might be the Emperor's real body descending. This meant that it was more dangerous to go out alone. It was safer to go out together. Celestial Pole's expression changed as he cursed in his heart. If that was the case, of course, he would find a safe place to stay. But the place was only so big. Where was it safe? He looked around. There were many powerhouses here. Celestial Pole's teeth hurt. If he was not careful, he would be finished. After thinking about it, Celestial Pole still walked towards Fong Ping. As he walked, he said, "Fong Ping, you guys snatch what you want. I don't want anything. Don't do anything to me. Everyone, at least I have an emperor father. It's not like I'm stealing anything from you. Just pretend that I don't exist. Don't make a move on me. Once this place is broken, I'll return to Emperor West's palace immediately. We'll never meet again. There's no benefit in killing me. The clone in this place, I won't admit that he's my father. Unless my father's real body descends," Emperor West's clone smiled. He did not care. The other emperors also had smiles on their faces. They did not say anything, nor did they look down on him. Interesting. Emperor West's son was very interesting. Here, Broken Six was really dangerous. Even more dangerous than true gods. True gods, venerable emperors, everyone knew that they did not have the ability to participate, so they would not deliberately attack them. However, Broken Six was not weak. Under the serious injuries of Broken Eight, Broken Six could also kill Broken Eight. It was a fatal threat to Broken Eight. It was not strong either. In this way, these Broken Six heavenly kings were in an extremely awkward position. Celestial Pole said that he would not participate as soon as he arrived. Killing him would offend Emperor West. If someone wanted to attack him, they had to consider whether it was worth it. Killing a guy who did not fight or snatch, offending an emperor, it was not that no one would do this. For example, this bastard Fong Ping. Therefore, after thinking about it, Celestial Pole decided to follow Fong Ping first, lest he was attacked by this guy. Fong Ping laughed and did not care about him. He continued, "Emperor West, if you come, you and Spirit Emperor, plus the few of us. Even if there are 3 Broken Nine, we are not afraid of him. If we join forces, we will also be the overlord here." Heavenly King, subduing, glanced at him. Fong Ping smiled. "Don't look at me, Heavenly King subduing. Find a Broken Nine and team up. Let's go our separate ways. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Find a Broken Nine and team up. Maybe you will gain more." The 6 emperors all looked at Fong Ping with a half smile. Fong Ping did not care about this. He said again, "Hongyu, you guys have a plan before, right? Hurry up and pick a team. Don't waste time. We are not fools. Who are you going to plot against? Oh, right. I think the Chu lineage might be working with Heaven Reverse Emperor now. Let's divide the enemy and ourselves and sort things out. Otherwise, when our own people kill our own people, it will be a show for ghosts." Fong Ping looked back at the emperors and asked curiously, "Aren't you going to divide? Are you going to act together with the Broken Nine? Emperor God, you and Dao Tree are naturally on the same side. You two should go together. Don't trick others. You two might become public enemies later. Don't hurt people." The God Emperor laughed. He had a benevolent expression on his face, and he wasn't angry either. "Human King, interesting." "Don't say interesting. If your real body is here, of course I won't talk to you about this. But after all, it is just a clone. No matter how powerful the clone is, we have many Broken Nine. Can't we exhaust you to death? Do you really think I don't know that the strength of the clone is limited? Even if it is a Broken Nine attack, the duration is limited." Fong Ping curled his lips. "Everyone here, except for Dao Tree, is just for show. A Broken Nine attack is a Broken Nine attack. It may not be much better than a Broken Eight attack." The emperors burst into laughter again. Heaven Reverse Emperor grinned. "Since you have said so, we will appear narrow-minded if we delay any longer. Underworld, Sky Arm, together?" The Underworld God glanced at him without saying anything. He waved his hand slightly. The group of Chu powerhouses behind him walked toward Heaven Reverse Emperor. Among the 5 emperors and 5 emperors, Heaven Reverse Emperor had the deepest relationship with Chu. As a matter of fact, they had no other choice. The Chu powerhouses walked toward Heaven Reverse Emperor. Emperor God grinned and turned to Dao Tree. Dao Tree frowned, but soon calmed down. In the blink of an eye, Dao Tree appeared behind Emperor God. Hong Yu, Li Zhu, Tianji, and the others walked toward Emperor God. Hong Kuan, King Qian, and King Zhen walked toward Emperor East. Emperor Monster and Feng looked at each other. Then Emperor Monster appeared next to Heaven Reverse Emperor in a blink. Feng did the same. This time, many people were alarmed. On Heaven Reverse Emperor's side, there were 3 broken 8 martial warriors. Now, 2 more went over. 5 broken 8 martial warriors. Among the 5, there were several broken 2 martial warriors. They were not weaker than Fang Ping's side. What was more, there were several broken 7 martial warriors and more than a dozen broken 6 martial warriors. This side was not weaker than Emperor God's side. Emperor God's side only had 2 broken 9 martial warriors. But Dao Tree, especially, was stronger than a broken 9 avatar. The other heavenly kings made their choices. Qing Tong was from Emperor God's side. Naturally, he chose Emperor God. Yin Fei and Lu Shan. One was the first seed of Emperor Nan, and the other was the first seed of Emperor North. They chose Emperor God's side. They had worked with Hong Yu before. Sheng Hong took a look at Heaven's fate. After a moment of hesitation, he brought Sheng Nan to Emperor West. Sheng Nan wanted to follow Heaven's fate, but with senior brother and master's avatar here, he had no choice. As a result, only Moon Spirit and Gong Yuzi, the 2 heavenly kings, did not speak. Of course, there was also Heavenly King Zhen. Moon Spirit did not bother to say anything. She walked toward Fang Ping directly. Seeing this, Gong Yuzi's eyes flickered. He glanced at Jiang Hao and walked over as well. Fang Ping raised his eyebrows, but said nothing. Heavenly King Zhen grinned. You guys are really on the same side. You guys are emperors. Why are you acting like elementary school students? Do you think you can form a team just because Fang Ping says so? As he spoke, Heavenly King Zhen looked around and grinned. Spirit Emperor, there's no one here. They don't like you. That's pathetic. Why don't you team up with me? Spirit Emperor snorted and ignored him. It was pathetic indeed. Fang Ping coughed dryly. Don't, Spirit Emperor. We're on your side. After saying that, he took the initiative to walk towards Spirit Emperor. Then he looked around and said, Where's Fat Pig and Cat? The cat also looked around. It was a little disappointed when it did not see Third Cat. Spirit Emperor frowned. After thinking for a while, he reached out and grabbed. In the void, a fat cat appeared. Third Cat. The cat was a little happy. It jumped over and rode on Third Cat's head in an instant. As for the heavenly hound, its dog eyes were slanted. Its gaze was unfriendly. No one knew if it was angry. Anyway, it did not want to be with Spirit Emperor. But compared to the others, forget it. It was better to follow Spirit Emperor. Although Spirit Emperor beat it up, Spirit Emperor looked the dumbest and was easier to deal with than those human spirits. The cat did not care about them. Riding on Third Cat's head, it smiled happily and took out a bag of snacks to feed Third Cat. Third Cat also opened its mouth and ate. It did not know if it tasted good, but it was in a good mood. Suddenly summoned by Spirit Emperor, Third Cat was a little afraid. But when it saw Big Cat, it was less afraid. It was quite fun. At this moment, Third Cat became the cat's mount. Spirit Emperor did not say anything. Fang Ping and the others walked over. She did not speak either. On the other side, Heavenly King Jun said sadly, "Brother Chun, why don't you come with me?" Chun, Emperor West, the emperors of the past, all had only one name. It was Fong Ping's first time hearing Emperor West's name. He looked curiously at Celestial Pole, who was hiding behind, and said in a low voice, "Your father is called Chun. Why are you called Celestial Pole?" Celestial Pole's face was dark. He gritted his teeth and said, "The West Pole, the ultimate Pure Land. Back then, it was not named according to the surname. Besides, there is no surname. Then why do the two sons of the earthly emperor have surnames?" Celestial Pole was annoyed and said impatiently, "One is called Kuan, the other is called Yu. Hong is not a surname. I just used to call them that. Then I'll call you Chen Tianji?" Celestial Pole was angry. "Damn, why are you still arguing with me about this at this time? How annoying. Someone come and beat this bastard to death." Emperor West could not help but laugh. He looked at Heavenly King Jun. After a while, he smiled and said, "Since Brother Jun thinks highly of me, then let's go together." Fong Ping sighed and said, "Our side is still very strong. 6 emperors are at the ultimate Pure Land. 2 of them are on our side. We are only slightly weaker than the Divine Emperor's side. Not bad." The God Creation envoy glanced at Fong Ping. He did not know what Fong Ping was going to do. Even though they were clear now, was it really like this? That might not be the case. They were all top-notch powerhouses. How could they expose their intentions so easily? On the other side, the Divine Emperor gave Fong Ping a meaningful look and said with a smile, "Since everyone is ready, let's break through now." "What about them?" Fong Ping glanced at those non-heaven heaven realm powerhouses. There were also many on the human side. Water Power and Power Mediocre, Jianghao Thunder King, and War King had not reached the Heavenly King realm. "These young friends, stay here for a while," the Divine Emperor chuckled and said, "In the passageway, the power of the rule is strong. Those who are not heavenly kings will die easily. The Divine Emperor is magnanimous." Fong Ping laughed and gave a thumbs up. "I was afraid that you would force them into the passageway to consume the power of the rule. It seems that I have underestimated you." After saying that, Fong Ping looked at Jiang Hao and the others. "You guys stay here and cultivate well. The power of the rule in this place is strong, and the vitality is also strong. If you don't enter the passageway, your safety is still guaranteed. Cultivate well and strive to enter the Heavenly King realm as soon as possible." Fong Ping said again, "When the fight starts later, don't run around. I think that even if they fight, they will be in the heavenly realm on the other side. They might not cross the passageway. Moreover, once the passageway is opened, there will be a lot of vitality transmitted over. You guys just have to cultivate well and seize the opportunity. If you miss this village, there will be no more shops." Fong Ping nagged for a while. The Spirit Emperor in front was a little impatient and said coldly, "Are you done? If you're done, enter the passageway." Women are impatient. Didn't you see that the other emperors have no objections? Fong Ping muttered again. The God Creation envoy glared at him. Fong Ping said indifferently, "I'm testing the magnanimity of the emperors. If they don't even have this bit of magnanimity, how would they dare to cooperate? Aren't they afraid that others will stab them? Lord Spirit Emperor is magnanimous. Why would he care about this? I'm a straightforward person. If I have something to say, I'll say it directly. I'm not like you guys who have lived for a long time. There are many tricks and schemes. I don't have these. After all, I'm only 21 years old. I have a straightforward personality. If I have something to say, I can't hold it in." On the other side, the Emperor said faintly, "There's no need to be modest, Human King. There's no need to be modest. I'm 21 years old. It's not embarrassing. What's there to be modest about? Fong Ping chuckled and said, Your Excellency, human emperor. No, Your Excellency, slaughtering emperor. Don't do anything to me. Killing the god emperor. And the Tao tree is the most important. As for me, you can put it behind me. I have some strength, so I'll show it on the surface. If you kill me, it might even attract the attention of the celestial emperor and the sun god. I'm a chess piece that these two have jointly set up. In fact, I can be considered their spokesperson. So, don't provoke me. Otherwise, you'll suffer a big loss, and your real body will be killed. Everyone's pupils constricted. Heavenly King, subduing, really had a toothache. Mother asterisk cur, what the hell were you trying to do? Fong Ping said, casually, Don't look at me like that. I've cultivated to broken 8 so quickly. These two have given me a lot of benefits. It's fine as long as everyone knows it. Don't tell anyone else. Otherwise, people will think that I, Fong Ping, have no talent. Fong Ping chuckled and said, If that's the case, it's also to save your life. I'm such an important chess piece. If you guys kill me and ruin other people's plans, be careful that you'll be in big trouble. I didn't want to admit it in the past. That was because other people were useless and couldn't kill me. Now I'm scared to death. Tao Tree, God Emperor, you heard it too. Don't do anything to me. If I die, I'll really die. It doesn't matter if the other clones die. Just catch them and beat them to death. Shut up. Heavenly King, subduing, shouted softly, slightly annoyed. Go in. If you want to talk, get out alive first. He could not stand this guy anymore. Wasn't he afraid that everyone would get impatient and kill him together? Fong Ping curled his lips again. Looking at the passageway in front, he exhaled. There's only 60% of the rule's power left. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be a problem for so many of us to go over. I'm just afraid that someone will plot against us. Everyone, take it easy. Those below broken 8, be careful and guard against others. It's hard to predict a person's heart. No one paid attention to him. Everyone walked toward the passageway, one after another. Just as Spirit Emperor was about to leave, Fong Ping hurriedly said, Don't, let's go at the back. They're strong, let them go first. Spirit Emperor turned around and gave him a look. His eyes were cold as he said coldly, It's not your turn to order me around. TSK, then you can go and die. Don't drag us down anyway. You might as well follow Emperor West. Celestial Terminus is so good at being bystanders. I think Emperor West has the same personality. It might be safer to follow Emperor West. Spirit Emperor looked at him coldly. After a while, he said coldly, Are you really not afraid of death? This place isn't within the checkpoint. The rule's power will no longer be suppressed after passing through the passageway. I'm afraid. That's why I said so much. Fong Ping said in distress, I've just broken through broken 8. I still want to live for a few more days. I want to go home and show off. Previously, I beat the Demon Emperor into submission. I don't want to die here. That's why I told you to slow down. Spirit Emperor was a little annoyed. He could not be bothered with him and walked forward directly. Fong Ping saw that the others were following him quickly and said hurriedly, Everyone, remember, you and I are on the same side, not the same side as Spirit Emperor. She's just a clone. If she dies, then she dies. If we die, then we really die. If you follow me, even if there's no benefit, you won't die so easily. Don't follow this woman blindly. Sherpa, I'm talking to you. Sherpo's face darkened. Am I that stupid? Everyone was too lazy to say anything. One by one, they walked toward the passageway. As soon as these people entered the passageway, the rule's power erupted instantly. Outside the passageway, Warlord held a jade pendant in his hand. He cursed in his heart. This kid won't trick me to death, will he? He wants me to crush the jade pendant at the critical moment. I don't think it's that simple. I hope it's okay. The main thing was that Fong Ping said one sentence. Crush the jade pendant and go into the passageway. Which passageway? He even specifically told him to run faster and not to delay. The more Fong Ping said that, the more afraid he was. This bastard, what was he trying to do? I don't want to die so quickly. Anyway, I don't think it's a good thing. The more I think about it, the more worried I am. Chapter 1368. As soon as he entered the passageway, Fong Ping realized that something was wrong. Fong Ping frowned instantly. Everyone was defending, and no one was able to defeat those big hands. Even these emperor avatars were only defending, helping some of the people around them to defend, but allowing the power of the rule to bombard them. Fong Ping raised his eyebrows and smiled. Everyone, why don't you defeat these rule powers? No one answered him. Fong Ping was depressed. He looked at Heavenly King, subduing in front of him, and shouted, Godfather, why don't they defeat this rule power? There was silence in the passageway. Everyone was speechless. Wasn't it Heavenly King subduing previously? When he needed it, he would be a godfather. The corner of Heavenly King, subduing's mouth twitched. He said unhappily, Don't you have to use more strength to defeat the rule power? Just go over directly. We can also prevent the people who come later from suddenly attacking. Godfather, is it that simple? What do you think? Heavenly King, subduing, snorted. Do you think it's to guard against Heavenly Emperor Zhan and Earthly Emperor? One of them has disappeared, and I don't know what happened to the other. Why would we be afraid of them when there are so many of us? Brother Subduing. At the side, Emperor West smiled. There's no such thing. At the back, Fong Ping pulled the God-crafting envoy and raised his eyebrows. What do you mean? The God-crafting envoy said, casually, the rule power suppresses the projection power. Guard against it, lest they attack from the back, without any obstruction. With the passage of the rule, the power they can exert will be limited. Oh, Fong Ping understood. He also understood why Heaven Exterminating Emperor would risk his life to consume so much rule power. He understood, and so did the others. They were all on guard. Who were they guarding against? Of course it was war. Other than war, there was also Earthly Emperor. Earthly Emperor had dissipated, but it did not mean that he was really gone. Moreover, did the other emperors really not have avatars hiding outside? This was also hard to say. With the rule power, these people would be killed by the rule power if they barged in. It would more or less be of some use. Now, there were a lot of Broken 9 and Broken 8 that came in, so there was no need to worry. If they defended together, these 60% rule power would not be able to do anything to them unless it exceeded the power of an emperor. Fong Ping rolled his eyes. Suddenly, he kicked Song Mao, who was riding Tricat, out of the defensive circle. Rumble! After being struck by lightning, the fur on the cat's body instantly stood up straight. The cat turned its head to look at Fong Ping, its face full of grievance and innocence. What are you doing? Why did he kick the cat? Why did he want to harm the cat? Fong Ping said hurriedly, Stupid cat, don't run outside. Be careful not to be struck to death. Why are you so stupid? As soon as he finished speaking, Fong Ping hurriedly threw a punch, shattering a thunderbolt. He grabbed Ash Cat and pulled it into the defensive circle. Fong Ping scolded the cat. In front of him, the Spirit Emperor turned his head and looked at him, frowning. Fong Ping did not even look at her. At this moment, all the powerhouses laid out a huge defensive circle, only defending and not attacking. Although the power of the rule was consumed, the consumption was minimal. At this rate, the 10,000-meter-long passageway would at most consume 10% of its energy to reach the end. That was the remaining 50% of rule force. Fong Ping cursed in his heart. These guys really knew their stuff. They knew that the heaven-battling Arch probably had other ideas and were guarding against him. At the thought of this, Fong Ping suddenly slammed into the Tengu beside him. Tengu was instantly knocked out of the defensive circle. Rumble! Countless thunderbolts and giant hands blasted toward it. The heavenly hound barked and scolded. Big dog, you can actually devour the power of the rule to strengthen yourself? That's amazing. Devour more. The Tengu was stunned. It could not do it, but maybe it could. It had not tried devouring the power of the rule before. Its devouring technique could devour anything, but it had never thought of devouring the power of the rule before. At this moment, the Tengu was suddenly tempted. Could it? It did not know. It could try. As soon as Fong Ping finished speaking, the Tengu did not come back. Its eyes widened, and suddenly it swallowed a giant hand. Rumble! The Tengu's body rumbled, smoke coming out of its orifices. The Tengu was just about to scold when Fong Ping smiled and said, "Eat less. It's not easy to digest if you eat too much. Take it slow. Once you get used to it, you can hone your golden body. Look at you. I already have jade bones, but you're still golden. I don't know how you cultivate." The Tengu was stunned. It felt a little inferior. Many years ago, it had cultivated to the peak of golden body, half-step jade bones. Golden body was almost jade body. Jade bones were also a little short. Yet, it did not break through this stage. Its vitality, on the other hand, had undergone a qualitative change. Back then, it did not know what it ate that caused its vitality gate to expand, allowing it to complete the 8 breakthrough transformation. Right now, it was still a distance away from breaking through 2 gates. However, if it succeeded in forging jade bones, it would also be a powerhouse who had broken through 2 gates. When the Tengu thought of Fong Ping forging jade bones, even the dumb cat had done so, it made up its mind. The power of the rule also contained life force. Perhaps it could really be useful. Body honing made sense. It could continue eating. What could it, the Tengu, not eat? If it did not die from eating, it could continue eating. Woof! A dog's bark rang out as the heavenly hound soared into the sky and swallowed a smaller hand into its stomach. Rumbling sounds rang out from within its body as the power of rules exploded out, causing the heavenly hound's Vajra fur to stand on end. At this moment, in front, the Tao tree said in a low voice, "Tengu, devouring the power of the rule will only hurt itself. It can't hone the body. None of your business. I'm happy to." The Tengu humphed. How would it know if it did not try? The Tao tree frowned, looking at Fong Ping. Fong Ping yawned, looking at the God-crafting envoy, smiling. "Senior God-crafting envoy, your divine bones and jade bones don't match. Go and get hit a few times, too. Maybe you can forge them into one. Then you'll be comparable to a twice-honed jade bone." This was the foundation of Celestial Emperor Baishan's strength back then. The God-crafting envoy raised its eyebrows, smiled, and walked out. Rumble! Thunder rose again. Someone said faintly, "Fong Ping, you want to pave the way for a battle. However, a battle might not be merciful to you. Wang Jinyang is not a battle." They were not fools. What was Fong Ping trying to do? Fong Ping said lazily, "What? I don't understand what you guys are talking about. What paving the way, or not? There are so many of us. Why would we be afraid of a mere projection?" Fong Ping said indifferently, "I'm honing my own flesh. Needless to say, my flesh is incomparably strong. It's just that I'm almost able to hone my jade body. I really want to try, but forget it. I'm afraid of death. Everyone stopped talking. They continued moving forward. As for Fong Ping, he began to bluff Sherpa and Luan. However, these two guys were unwilling to go out no matter what. It was too dangerous. The God-crafting envoy and the heavenly hound could hold on for a while because they were stronger than them. Although these two had also forged jade bones, they were not as strong as them. At this moment, Fong Ping raised his head and looked at the defensive shield in the sky. This was jointly built by Many Break 9. It was incomparably sturdy. He had to think of a way to break this thing. The power of the rule actually suppressed the projection. Fong Ping only just found out. If the power of the rule was consumed too little, wouldn't Heavenly Battle Emperor's strength be reduced by more than half before he could even enter? How could that be? He was still waiting for Heavenly Battle Emperor to fight against a Break 9 clone. Fong Ping felt that Heavenly Battle Emperor could fight against a Break 9 clone. Although the power of the projection was mostly Break 8, it would almost never reach the Break 9 realm. When the God-crafting envoy could not hold on any longer and drilled into the defensive shield, Fong Ping said telepathically, "Senior, how do I drill a hole?" The God-crafting envoy instantly understood. She knew what this guy was going to do. She was a little speechless. After thinking for a while, she said telepathically, "This was set up by a few Break 9 together. Unless one person's power output changes and destroys the structure, this power of the rule won't be able to break the defensive shield." After thinking for a while, she said, "Kid, don't be too confident. Zhan Huanjin might not be on our side." Fong Ping did not care about this. Without another word, he kicked Celestial Pole, who avoided him sideways. F*CK, Celestial Pole cursed, "Fong Ping, I will take revenge sooner or later. Do you want to kill me? I'm only Break 6. Rumble." A thick thunderbolt descended. At this time, in front, Emperor West frowned slightly. He sighed softly in his heart and suddenly made a move, grabbing toward Celestial Pole. Rumble! In the sky, a hole appeared in the defensive shield instantly. A few huge palms covered it instantly. An incomparably huge palm directly grabbed through the defensive shield at this moment, grabbing toward Joyful and Heavenly King subduing below. "Fong Ping!" Someone shouted coldly. Even Spirit Emperor was sullen. A few of them looked at Fong Ping coldly. At this moment, a hole had appeared in the defensive shield. Endless power of the rules surged in, killing in all directions in an instant. On the other side, Emperor West grabbed Celestial Pole back. He was also speechless. He smashed a huge palm with one palm. Heavenly King, subduing, also attacked those hands of the rule. The others were not Break 9. They were a little flustered, attacking the power of the rule one after another. The Tao tree suddenly turned around and looked at Fong Ping, his eyes cold. Fong Ping's previous few times, they were too lazy to say anything and did not consume much power of the rule. But now, he directly caused the defensive shield to collapse. At this time, even Break 9 had to fight back. Otherwise, if more hands of the rule gathered, even Break 9 would be in danger. Fong Ping said innocently, "Why are you looking at me? I didn't do it on purpose." The Tao tree looked at him coldly. With a wave of his hand, he smashed the power of the rule in front of him and said coldly, "Since you want to destroy it, then leave by yourself. Everyone, if fellow Fong and the others are willing to hone their bodies, then let's split up." If everyone was together, their safety was guaranteed. Previously, they had also considered this point, which was why they had built the defensive shield together. In the end, this fellow Fong Ping insisted on making trouble. It was not good to attack him now, so they might as well let him go by himself. "What do you mean? You want to split us up?" Fong Ping was the one who complained first. He said angrily, "Tao Tree, you've gone too far. You want to kill us? Although you and the God Emperor are strong, you're not invincible. Do you want us to fight you to the death and let others take advantage of you? The Tao tree was holding back his anger. He had nowhere to vent it. Beside him, the God Emperor was still indifferent. He said slowly, "Since he's willing, let him be. Let's continue." The Tao tree snorted softly. He did not say anything else and continued moving forward. Everyone built the defensive shield again. However, previously, a group of powerhouses attacked and destroyed a large amount of power of the rule in the blink of an eye. In this place, the power of the rule was obviously much thinner than before. On the other side, Celestial Pole, who was caught by Emperor West, glared at Fong Ping a few times. He felt a little aggrieved. At this time, he did not dare to walk with Fong Ping anymore. Whether this was Emperor West's clone or not, he would leave with his father first. Otherwise, Fong Ping would have to kick him out. There's still 50% left. When we get out, I'm afraid there'll be about 40% left. A broken 9 might not be able to break through. Fong Ping calculated. At most, he could leave 30% of the rule power. 30% was already too much. The power of the rule in this place was very strong. If a broken 8 went alone, he would definitely die. If a broken 9 went, he would not be able to walk more than 5,000 meters. 30% might not be able to kill a broken 9, but at least it would greatly damage his vitality. In addition, the projection would be suppressed by the rule power. It might be even more difficult. Fong Ping did not care whether Heavenly Emperor battle was good or bad. Anyway, his target would not be him. Of course, this was what Fong Ping thought. As long as the target was not himself but those emperors, then there would be no harm in it. Of course, Fong Ping did not want Heavenly Emperor battle to be weakened too much. After thinking about it, Fong Ping looked at Spirit Emperor and said, "Even if Heavenly Emperor battle makes a move, he won't do it to a woman like you, right? Look, among the 7 broken 9, you're probably the weakest. If you don't think of a way to let Heavenly Emperor battle in, who do you think he'll do it to?" Spirit Emperor frowned. "Unless you killed him in a trap back then." Spirit Emperor glanced at him coldly. She snorted in Fong Ping's mind. "Even if Heavenly Emperor battle makes a move, he won't do it to me." As she said that, Spirit Emperor seemed to have thought of something. She said again, "If he's going to make a move, it will either be Emperor East or the Emperor God, or even Emperor Heaven Reverse. Anyway, it would not be her. The possibility of him targeting the Tao tree was not small, because Heavenly Emperor battle would not let the Emperor God succeed. Thinking of this, Spirit Emperor frowned slightly. Although Fong Ping was annoying, she had to admit that some things were not wrong. If Heavenly Emperor battle came, it might not be a bad thing. Compared to the others, she wasn't considered very strong. If that was the case, it might be a good thing to have one more spoiler. Spirit Emperor did not waste any more time. In the air, the defense shield suddenly trembled. With a rumble, it shattered again. Once again, a large amount of the rule power attacked in all directions. The Emperor God and the others looked at Spirit Emperor. Spirit Emperor acted as if he did not see anything and broke some of the rule power. No one said a word. One by one, the powerhouses struck again, breaking many of the rule power. This time, Fong Ping did not use telepathy at all. He shouted, "East Emperor, Emperor God, Emperor Heaven Reverse is your disciple. Why are you so guarded against him? Why don't you clean up the rule power and let Heaven Reverse come and see what he is guarding?" The 3 teachers of Heaven Reverse were here. "Emperor Heaven Reverse, this is one of the 4 emperors. Are you so unwilling to see him come?" The 4 ignored him. Sometimes, Fong Ping did not have the final say. The Tao tree, who had smashed a rule power, said coldly, Fong Ping, if this goes on, don't blame us for being merciless. Fong Ping rolled his eyes. It's none of my business. I didn't do it. You don't dare to go to Spirit Emperor, so you come to me? Don't run later. We will gang up on you and see how strong you are. The Tao tree was annoyed. All of a sudden, a rule power was about to attack the Tao tree. A white energy emerged from the Tao tree. The force moved toward Fong Ping in an instant, very strong. It might not be weaker than a level 7 strike. Fong Ping sneered. His vitality surged. The rule power that was coming toward him changed direction instantly and blasted toward Emperor Heaven Reverse. Emperor Heaven Reverse crushed the hand. He looked at the Tao tree and Fong Ping, raising his eyebrows. The Tao tree was shocked. He had passed the 13th trial. Therefore, he could direct some rule power. Otherwise, he would not have been able to go through the 13th trial and open up the passageway. Fong Ping had not passed the Divine Emperor trial. How did he do it? On the other side, East Emperor glanced at Fong Ping and chuckled. True blood force? I didn't expect to meet someone with true blood force here. Young friend Fong, you are lucky. True blood force. As soon as he said that, many people looked at Fong Ping. Hong Yu and the rest were not surprised. Fong Ping had avoided the rule power's attack at the earthly sovereign trial. The Tao tree also understood. His expression changed slightly as he said coldly, the power of true blood is something that even sovereign realm experts cannot take lightly. If you kill someone with the power of true blood and refine their blood, you might be able to fill your own blood with the power of true blood. He really wanted to kill Fong Ping now. Fong Ping was always going against him. The heaven-breaking jade was still in Fong Ping's hands. He just wanted to get the jade back as soon as possible to avoid any accidents. Fong Ping squinted at the Tao tree and smiled. You want to kill me? You misunderstood me. The Tao tree replied calmly. No, you just want to kill me. Fong Ping was like a lunatic. He suddenly laughed harshly. You want to kill me? Those who want to kill me are my enemies. Kill. Kaboom. He threw a punch. The strength of Breaking 8 was on full display. The Tao tree snorted and threw a punch of his own. With a rumble, the punch shadow was shattered. The palm print continued to blast toward Fong Ping. Fong Ping dodged quickly and dashed behind Emperor Heaven Reverse in the blink of an eye. Emperor Heaven Reverse frowned slightly. Then he cracked a smile and threw a punch of his own, shattering the palm print. At this moment, countless rule powers were coming at them again. Everyone shattered the hands of rule. The Tao tree's expression was grim. He moved and disappeared. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Fong Ping. The Tao tree did not want to be Emperor Heaven Reverse's enemy now, but he was not willing to let Fong Ping continue to be free and unfettered. This guy was a shit stirrer. The Tao tree was too strong. Here, he could even be ranked first. Of course, his instantaneous outburst might not be the first. In terms of endurance, he was definitely the first among Breaking 9. When he flashed, even Fong Ping could not catch him. When he sensed danger, the Tao tree had already thrown a punch at his head. Godfather, Fong Ping roared. On the other side, Heavenly King Zhen was speechless. He could not care less and threw a punch at Fong Ping. Fong Ping's expression changed. He hurriedly forced his body to move. Kaboom! A loud noise was heard again. Fong Ping was sent flying. One punch after another exploded in the air. The aftershock spread in all directions. God knew how many hands of rule had been shattered. Fong Ping let out a muffled grunt. Both of them were terrifying. Heavenly King Zhen did not attack again. The Tao tree frowned. He was not afraid of Heavenly King Zhen. However, if this went on, the destructive power of their fight would be even stronger. The rule powers here would soon be worn out by them. Fang Ping is determined to let Heavenly Emperor Zhan in. Li Zhu transmitted his voice to Hong Yu, asking quickly, "Has Senior Earthly Sovereign really dissipated?" Hong Yu shook his head slightly. It was not that he was sure, but he did not know. Even he did not know if his father had really dissipated. However, it was true that there were no doppelgangers. If the projection was still here, it might enter too. If the rule powers here dissipated, it would be safer for Earthly Sovereign to enter. He glanced at Heavenly King Zhen, and then at the Tao Tree. Of these two, one was at peak breaking 8, the other at breaking 9. There was a difference in strength, but it was not too big. Of course, if they were to really fight, Heavenly King Zhen, who was at peak breaking 8, would definitely not be a match for the Tao Tree. The key was that many people were watching the Tao Tree now. The Tao Tree did not dare to fight to the death with Heavenly King Zhen. Hong Yu glanced at the Emperor. The Emperor smiled slightly and transmitted his voice. "Let them fight. The most dangerous ones here are Qiong and the Tao Tree, as well as Fang Ping and the others." Huh. Hong Yu's pupils shrank slightly. Even if Heavenly King Zhen was added to Fang Ping's side, it should not be too dangerous, right? He knew that Fang Ping was difficult to deal with. But why did the Emperor say so? Emperor of Heaven Reverse's side had more powerhouses than Fang Ping's side. Fang Ping. The Emperor glanced at Fang Ping, who was hiding in the side again as if nothing had happened. He transmitted his voice. "Be careful. Heavenly King Zhen is more terrifying than we thought. I know a little about Fang Ping. Have you forgotten the strength he displayed the last time you joined forces with him?" "Breaking 9? Hong Yu said quickly, "but I'm afraid the Chu clan will not join forces with him this time." "There are no absolutes." The Emperor said again, "If the Chu clan is in danger, they might join forces with him again. Back then, he was only at breaking 6. Today, he has reached breaking 8. If they join forces again, I'm afraid it will not only be a breaking 9 strike. It will not be difficult for them to maintain breaking 9 combat strength." Hong Yu's heart skipped a beat. He had almost forgotten about this. This was something to be wary of. If Fang Ping really joined forces with Chu again, Hong Yu felt that he could still withstand the breaking 9 strike last time. He could not kill Fang Ping in one strike. But if they maintained breaking 9 combat strength, it would be dangerous. "Kill some Chu heavenly kings." The Emperor said again, "Kill some Chu heavenly kings, especially those with weak spiritual consciousness and strong physiques. Make it impossible for Fang Ping to merge and weaken the possibility of him being a threat to us." As soon as the Emperor said this, Fang Ping suddenly shouted, "You're still attacking. Don't force me. If you push me too far, I will join forces with the Chu clan and kill you." The underworld god's expression changed at this. Before he could speak, a large amount of the power of the rule suddenly blasted toward the group of Chu clan martial artists. The underworld god's face was livid. His eyes were as sharp as a knife as he looked around. Who was plotting against them? Boom. The underworld god, Sky Arm, and the others acted quickly. Their vitality erupted, shaking heaven and earth and crushing the hand of rule. Emperor of Heaven Reverse frowned and acted quickly. As time went by, the power of the rule was decreasing. At this moment, the Emperor God suddenly sighed. "These power of the rule can't hurt breaking 9. With so many powerhouses, the power of the rule was being consumed at a faster rate than the previous kings and supreme Daos. In such a short time, almost 40% of the power of the rule had been used up. Clearly, the previous plan was ruined. Although the remaining 20% was a threat to breaking 9, it was not much. and they were only halfway through the passageway. By the time they got out, the power would be almost exhausted. The Emperor God looked at Fang Ping with a faint smile. So did Dong Huang and the others. Fang Ping's contribution could not go unnoticed when the power of the rule was exhausted. Not only that, at this moment, everyone thought of the Chu clan. That day when Fang Ping slashed the Vitality Gate with one slash, everyone had seen it, other than Spirit Emperor's clone, and the Dao Tree, who did not know. Who else did not know? At this moment, Fang Ping had broken 8. It was difficult to kill him. But those Chu clan martial artists were not necessarily difficult to kill. Did an underworld god, and the others look as black as iron? Fantasy glared at Fang Ping, wishing he could kill him right now. Fang Ping deliberately tricked them. Sky Arm wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. He and Fang Ping had worked together a few times, and it was quite pleasant. But now, there was clearly a gap between them again. Fang Ping did not mind. The Chu clan martial artists did not mention anything about working together after they came in. Obviously, they had their own plans. If that was the case, Fang Ping could not be bothered to say anything. Of course, if he had to trick them, he would trick them. Chu might also want to trick and kill the cat. Big Brother did not talk about Second Brother. Although there was no conclusive evidence, since Fang Ping suspected it, he would not mind falling out. Sometimes, if he was worried about falling out and blindly pandering, it might lead to big trouble in the end. It was better to make a clear stand and express his position, lest some people on his side made a mistake, and let them succeed. That would be troublesome. Beside him, the God Creation Envoy was slightly worried. Very troublesome. Fang Ping was too ostentatious. Originally, everyone was hostile to the Dao Tree and the others. Now, Fang Ping was not much better than the Dao Tree. Wasn't this asking for trouble? The Dao Tree might be laughing in his heart now. Even Heavenly King Zhen glared at Fang Ping. That was not the plan. The plan was for everyone to target the Dao Tree, and the others, while they acted in the dark and kept a low profile. Fang Ping, on the other hand, made his side the target of public criticism in the blink of an eye. What was he doing? Did he think that this old man was not dying fast enough? Or did he really think that this old man could fight a few broken 9? But this kid, Heavenly King Zhen, narrowed his eyes. The Dao Tree broke 9. The moment it attacked Fang Ping dodged it very quickly. He had just broken 8. How could he dodge it so easily? This kid's strength had broken 2 gates at least, or close to the point of breaking 2 gates. Sure enough, with a little strength, he became arrogant. Heavenly King Zhen cursed again in his heart. So what if he broke 8? So what if he broke 2 gates? Didn't he see how many broken 9 were present? Moreover, Hongyu and these broken 8 were not easy to deal with. A broken 8, like the underworld god, was even closer to the peak. Fang Ping had offended too many people. He could not hold on. Fang Ping saw that everyone was looking at him. He was a little embarrassed. His body seemed to tremble a little. He laughed dryly and said, "Everyone, don't misunderstand. I just don't like the Dao Tree's arrogance. He's a junior. Although he broke 9, how can he be compared to the seniors here? Moreover, he can avoid some rules, but he hasn't been able to break in after so many years. I suspect that he might have gone in before. He encountered some danger, so he deliberately did not go in. He wants to trap and kill all of you. Seniors, you must be careful. If it were me, I could avoid some injuries in tens of thousands of years. If I grind it bit by bit, I can also wear out this place." The Dao Tree's expression was ugly. He said coldly, "What do you know when the rules were at their peak?" "Slander." Fang Ping had a glib tongue, splashing dirty water on him. "I'm just saying, Why are you so agitated? Is it because you have a guilty conscience? The Dao tree's gaze grew colder. At this moment, he wanted to kill Fong Ping even more. Arguing was not the style of powerhouses like them. Fong Ping provoked him again and again, completely ignoring the difference between Broken 9 and Broken 8. Did he think that he was like Kuan Peng, that he would be afraid of him? Fong Ping looked at him and grinned. His smile was uglier than crying. Go! Heavenly Emperor, reverse Celestial Emperor bellowed. He did not let them continue fighting. They would talk after entering the virtual sky realm. There was no benefit in fighting here. There was no need. Everyone moved forward. This time, there was no need to defend. With so many powerhouses around, it was better to break the rules than to defend. As for Heavenly Emperor battle, they just had to be careful. Heavenly Emperor battle checkpoint. Heavenly Emperor battle trembled slightly. He looked at the sky and murmured, the suppression was broken. Strange. Based on their personalities, they would not do this. It was not that they did not know of his existence. Yet, he broke the suppression. Did they think that he would not be a threat? Heavenly Emperor battle was slightly puzzled. He stopped thinking about it. This was a good thing. Perhaps he could do better. Although the suppression was not a big deal, the existence of the suppression still limited his ability. Now that the suppression was broken, it was even better. Stupid cat, this time I'll bring you around the 3 realms and let you see it. How about that? Meow, what's the 3 realms like? It's all delicious. Meow, meow. Two Cat was excited. All delicious? What did the 3 realms look like? It had some memories, but was not clear about the specifics. In this life, it had never been to the real 3 realms. Heavenly Emperor Battle chuckled and patted Two Cat's head. It was good to go out and take a look. P.S. There's only 2 hours left. I'll accompany my family for dinner. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.